One. Is it good?
Okay, welcome along to Elverys MacHale Park here today. Big day for Mayo Club football today. I'm Liam Horan. We have the two Treanlaur Catering Mayo Senior Football Championship semi-finals here today. Castlebar Mitchels, the champions as they've so often been in recent years, taking on Garrymore. And in the second semi-final, Ballintubber, one of those teams who have challenged Castlebar Mitchels at a very high level in recent years, taking on Claremorris, who came from the pack, beating Bravey in the quarter-final to make today's semi-final. All the action here today on MayoGAA.tv.com. From here to the very end, and with a bit of look at all, it'll be archived immediately afterwards as well for watching back. We have some Cordial Mayo tickets to give out today as well for those who have bought to be online here, and also for those who like and share our Facebook throughout today. So do get liking and sharing and telling your friends to come on here as well. I'm joined by a man who has a long face on him today, Austin O'Malley. You went to James Stephens Park, Ballina last night, hoping that Louisburgh would stay in the Mayo Intermediate Championship. It didn't work out that way, I'm afraid, so you're gone. Kilchmock took you out.
That's right, yeah. Kilchmock took us out last night. I suppose just overall, they were a better side on the evening. They caught us for a couple of early goals in the first half, and we really were playing catch-up, I suppose, after that. I suppose, but that said, we did come out and we threw everything at it. But, they drifted men back and they closed us out, and we could just never get really to the pitch within after that. So, we're disappointed, but as I said previously, we probably 12 or 14 under 21s in our squad. So there's a huge learning curve there for them lads as well. So it's all about going back and resetting and refocusing for next year and driving on again. So that's what it's all about.
Sounds like you're hungry for more, yeah?
The body's in good shape, the mind is in good shape. I suppose have to get the green light from the wife. Maybe that might be the biggest.
We'll leave domestics to you, Austin. Is that okay?
100%, yeah. So no, we'll
You do commute though. You're living in Dublin.
That's correct, yeah. I'm still living in Dublin, so it is a bit of a commute, and I suppose that takes its toll on the body too. So it's about when you get to my age, I suppose it's about trying to just stay fresh. So I'll have to, I suppose, factor all those things in before I make a decision again. But I feel good, So we'll see where I am around Christmas and that. Whether I'll kick on again.
Okay, Austin is our match analyst for the day. He'll be here for both games. The Castlebar Mitchels game, our first game against Garrymore, and I'm joined by the two men from Garrymore and Castlebar Mitchels who are going to represent their side here today without fear or favour. First of all, Danny McHugh nearest me here, and Kevin Filan nearest you. You'll know both of them from the playing fields of Mayo. Danny, first of all, you were making the point in a Facebook Live a few months ago that the Garrymore performance you saw against Ballina is as good as you've seen from this Garrymore team.
Yeah, they played really well, going 1-5 score down early, and they never dropped the head, stuck at it, stuck to their game plan, and really put the pressure on and drove all the way home and didn't let up right till the last minute, and it was very impressive. Powerful display, loads of pace, power, what they've been working on for the last few years, and it's coming to fruition. A lot of young players there are doing very well for them.
And Kevin, Castlebar Mitchels, of course, we've very little to learn about them, but they've had some problems with injuries. Players who were involved in Mayo, as you said, Donny Newcombe, Danny Kirby, didn't get as much game time as other players might have at club level even during the year. So you thought they struggled a bit in the first half against Knockmore?
Yeah, probably would, and that's not probably an injustice to Knockmore. Knockmore probably a little bit better this year than they were last year. So yeah, Castlebar slowly building. Probably got a bit of a dart from Ballina the week before. That was a bit of a wake-up call. It was unfortunate for Knockmore. Obviously, Castlebar Mitchels coming runner up in the group, but yeah, I think they're beginning to build it a little. So you're hoping for another lift of 10-15% in the performance today. Really need the likes of Donny Newcombe, Danny Kirby to perform. They probably were disappointed with their own performance against Knockmore, and they're coming out of a county panel. You need to see them as the leaders for Castlebar. So you'll be expecting things from Barry and Donny and Danny today.
You have team news from Garrymore, from Castlebar, Kevin.
Yeah, so James Durkin is in place of number 10 Anthony O'Boyle, and Shane Irwin replaces Niall McCartney at left half back, number 7, and that was the starting team against Knockmore last week.
Code of Omerta from Garrymore, or have you any news for us, Danny?
I couldn't see too many changes really with the team. I don't actually know. I suppose the only debatable one will be Cathal Slattery or Darren Quinn to start, I would imagine. Cathal played very well last week. Darren had been playing very well all year, but carried an injury into the last game. I think he's fit today, so it'll be one or the other, I'd say. Otherwise, I'd say that line pretty much as they are.
Yeah, we can bring up those Garrymore and Castlebar teams onto the screen as well, so people can see them here. And we also have a good crowd gathering here, and we have a small technical problem with the Garrymore one, but I think that's the Mitchells one on the screen there. And as Kevin says, again, Shane Irwin is in for Niall McCartney at left half back, and James Durkin is in for Anthony O'Boyle at right half forward from what's in the programme.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and Aidan Walsh had an injury there a few months ago, so he's just back since last week with his cast coming off. So I think we're going to see Aidan coming on today, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Niall McCartney coming on at some stage.
Okay, well, looking at the Garrymore team, Austin, obviously we'll be probably more familiar with Castlebar Mitchels, like everybody is who's following Mayo Club football. But Garrymore has some very good players. Shane Nally, Mayo senior footballer, Keelan Crowe as well, who's playing really well in the closing stages of this championship. He's had some very good games recently.
Yeah, no, they have. Obviously, when you look through, I suppose the Garrymore team there, the standouts again would be Shane Nally. I suppose Trevor Nally, also a fantastic footballer, put in a huge performance out the last day out there as well. But also just the work ethic of, I suppose, Gary Golden we're looking at there as well. And again, Miles Fallon, who's proven to be a match winner in the past for Garrymore. Certainly they'll be looking for a big show from him today as well. But overall, I suppose Garrymore, they've got themselves here by very virtue of the fact that they've worked extremely hard and they're cohesive as a unit. In relation to Castlebar, I suppose we're looking at Castlebar from the perspective they've a really strong spine there with Ger McDonagh, Paddy Durkin, Barry Moran and Neil Douglas, all of those proven match winners in the past.
Yeah, we can bring up their team on screen now as well, in fact, Garrymore, and they are, as is often so often said about Garrymore, a great club to stay going in senior championship football. Have sailed close to the wind on a few occasions, but keep competing, Danny. There's a great pride in Garrymore. Being a senior club matters a lot in Garrymore, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's all about championship over there, and you can see from championship days the atmosphere in Garrymore, the crowds that come, and the interest that's created over there. And there is a great history there, and I suppose there's an onus on the next generation every time to keep them senior and keep fighting and going on. And it's all about trying to get that elusive county medal for a lot of these guys. And no more than Kevin has spent a long time looking for one, and he didn't get one until he was 40. Miles Fallon, 40 years this year. He'll hope to emulate that, and
we call that clutching at straws now for an omen, Danny.
Well, we'll go with anything, but but Miles is playing well. He played very well against Ballina the last day, so we'll be, that's the aim. To get to a county final. 82 was the last time we were in it. We've lost 6 semi-finals since then, so we'll be looking to push on now. And it's a unique thing for Garrymore players to get to a county final. It really puts them in the folklore, and they have a lot to gain by winning today, and hopefully that'll push them on to get over the line.
Yeah, anybody who's read the Garrymore story or is familiar, and that's an actual publication, the Garrymore story, knows that once upon a time at least, Garrymore always got down on the knee and said a prayer before leaving a dressing room. Last time I checked, not too long ago, that was still a tradition in the club. Is that still there?
Yeah, well, we were all on our knees this morning praying, getting out of bed, but no, it is still goes every game, at senior level, before every game, and underage teams sometimes as well. So it is a tradition that was, I think, back in the 60s it started, and it's been going since.
Everything they did afterwards was holy, by the way, when they went out in the field. But if you say a prayer close enough to going out, you can be absolved of a few things.
Well, of course, yeah. Well, Garrymore are very noted for their clean football on the field. So, but yeah, they this team are a great footballing team, and they really showed in the field. They showed the last day against Ballina. The quality of football they played was, spectacular at times. To see Clark beaten 4 times, probably the first time in a long time he's been beaten, and they deserved it and could have had more.
It's that goal scoring threat that Garrymore showed that day, Kevin, that will have Castlebar Mitchels wondering, what do they have to watch out for here today.
Yeah, that's something I wasn't at the Garrymore game, but from talking to a few people that were at it, the Garrymore half-back line ran really hard at Ballina, so I think obviously I'd say Castlebar, the analysis done on that. It'll be very interesting to see what the matchups are. Will Paddy Durkin mark Keelan Crowe? I probably would prefer to see Ger McDonough come out and pick up Keelan and push Paddy on.
How's Ger's fitness for a gig like that? I know he's had a lot of trouble this year.
That's a good question, Liam. Yeah, he's been in and out. There's probably question marks over his fitness, but every week it goes by, you're probably, and the games it helps, so it's probably still a question mark over Ger's fitness. I thought he played a lot better in the second half against Knockmore, and he got to grips with Peter Naughton, and he had an outstanding second half.
The deployment of Paddy Durkin was a big talking point in last year's county final, where he took on Kevin McLaughlin and really ran the show really on that day. He was fantastic, and having come off a hard championship year with Mayo last year to come into such form with the club, he really is one of the jewels in your crown here.
Yeah, Paddy's an outstanding player, and he was a standout player last week in Knockmore. When Castlebar Mitchels needed a little bit of leadership, Paddy stuck up and he won dirty ball and he drove the team forward. Look, he scored probably the turning point of the game was when Paddy scored the goal. So yeah, I prefer to see Paddy probably push on a little bit further up the field, and that's what happened. You're right, last year in the county final against Knockmore, he probably played more of a centre forward orthodox role, and he probably put Kevin McLaughlin on the back foot for most of that game.
If you were to put a man marking Paddy Durkin, Danny, who would go for that? Volunteer for that duty?
One man or the whole team? There's no doubt Durkin's very good against Knockmore, and he is the danger man. I know Kevin Welch will definitely have looked at that and will come up with a plan to try and counteract it. Whether it works or not, it's hard to know, but maybe Keelan will pick him up, or there's a few others that could possibly pick him up, but he is the guy to stop for Castlebar, and hopefully, we've our own threats ourselves, hopefully Jimmy Kelly and Mark Tierney can cause as much trouble the other end.
Hey Austin, I'm going to bring you in again here. You've been watching the teams go through their paces there. Anything strike you physically, how they match up?
Yeah, just looking at Garrymore there, I think they look very, very sprightly, the way they come out there and the way they're set up and the way they're moving ball around the place. So, I just often, when you see a team in a warm up, they sort of send out a signal. I thought they sent out a signal there in terms of where they're moving and that. So they look fresh. Castlebar also look quite powerful. Obviously, they have there's some conditioning work done over the last couple of years, and they've they're really kind of they've a lot of big strike players or strike runners and that. But yeah, no, the scene is set here for a classic, I think.
Okay, well, hopefully the day is remarkably fresh, actually, given the predictions of gloom and doom that are facing us at the moment with Hurricane Ophelia around the corner, but it's a lovely day so far, and hopefully it'll stay that way as well as the teams go through their warm-ups and get themselves in readiness for this clash between Garrymore and Castlebar Mitchels. To recap on last night, as mentioned earlier on to Austin, they were knocked out of the intermediate championship by Kilchamaugh, and in the other game Moy Davitts set up an all East Mayo clash by defeating Island 80 in the second semi-final in a much stormier day than what we have here today at Elverys MacHale Park. And at the moment it looks like obviously both finals will go ahead next weekend. There's a bit of a race against time now, given the lateness of Mayo's run, or the extension of Mayo's run in the All-Ireland Senior Championship, and it's looking like both finals will be here next weekend in Elverys MacHale Park. Though of course, Kevin, there is a Wednesday night replay if any of today's games don't finish with the conclusion today.
Yeah, so that's obviously I say both teams are preferring to get through. You don't. That's the last thing you want, preparing for a county final. I think we had it last year, had we in the intermediate, if I'm right, and it's a difficult thing to do, to play 2 games in the space of 5 days. So I'd be surprised, to be honest, if there's a draw today. I think I'm looking. I'm obviously going to put my pin my hat to Castlebar Mitchels. I can see them getting over the line by 2 or 3 points.
Playing a team of Mitchell's experience, Danny, it's a big step up for any club player, really. I mean, I know Castlebar have played them in Championship recently, and their record is quite good overall over the years. But this Mitchell's team is a very serious, solid outfit. It's an evolving outfit as well. They've brought new players in, so they're a formidable team at any level of club football, as we know.
Yeah, of course. They'll be overwhelming favourites today, and probably rightly so. But again, they've had a lot of players out injured. They've lost a few players over the last few years, and more than ourselves. But we have a lot of experienced players as well. Jimmy Killeen playing the 69th game for Garrymore today. I don't think any Castlebar player would be playing that. And Garrymore have been in the quarter-final for the last 5 years in a row. So they've a lot of experience there. We have a lot of young players as well that maybe a bit like Claremorris last week can throw caution to the wind a bit and not fear a big team like Castlebar, and go for it.
Okay, well, any moment now we'll be handing over to match commentator Tom Kearney as we get ready to roll through for the clash between Garrymore and Castlebar Mitchels. Tom will be joined by Kevin and Danny for the game, and Austin will be on hand as well to throw his tuppence worth in as well. Final word from Austin before we do that. Austin, I think you're going Mitchels.
Hesitantly, I think, just we're looking again at their spine there. Ger McDonagh, Paddy Durkin, Barry Moore, Neil Douglas, all kind of proven match winners in the past, and I know they haven't really kind of ignited yet thus far this season, but again, sometimes it takes maybe the latter ends of a championship for these guys, particularly when you've 2 or 3 won on the bounce or so before the temperature raises and they see the finishing line. So just hesitantly I go for Mitchels.
Okay, well, there it is. Austin O'Malley, our match analyst, says Mitchels, as almost everybody else from a neutral perspective will be saying as well. But Danny is flying a flag for Garrymore, who are, of course, here on merit, and will be hoping to have a good rattle at Mitchels here today. With that, I hand over to match commentator Tom Kearney and his team of Kevin Filan and Danny McHugh.
Thank you, Liam, and welcome everyone to Elverys MacHale Park for the semi-final of the Treanlaur Catering Senior Football Championship. Game between Garrymore and Castlebar Mitchels. The conditions are dry at the moment. The flags are flying. There's a good breeze. Both teams just finishing off their warm-up routines. Castlebar, you feel, would be looking to add to their list of titles, Kevin, after winning 3 of the last 4 finals, come in with a bit of form as well. They're working as a good unit.
Yeah, obviously Mitchell's going for a 3 in a row, but look, I know this group of players pretty well. They won't be looking past today's game. Focus very much on getting a performance today. We were chatting there earlier on, this team, they're down a couple of players from last year. We're missing the likes of Neil Lydon in the forwards, we're missing Fergal Durkin, who's over in the States. So they've lost a lot of players in the last couple of years, and they've brought through a few of the minors this year. There's 3 or 4 of the minor winning team from last year on the bench. So yeah, look, I'd be confident that, but they need a good start. I think they need a better start than they got against Knockmore last week, and I don't think Garrymore will fear anything, and they'll run hard at Mitchels.
Garrymore, obviously, for want of a better word, blew Ballina out of the water with 4 good goals, and coming into this championship they've scored 946 in the 4 games that they've played. The Castlebar team scoring 558, so it should be a good scoring affair.
Yeah, hopefully they get off to a good start. Last year we just got shell-shocked against Ballintubber and really just fell apart early in the game, so I'm sure they'll be trying to keep things fairly tight early on. I see that I think Castlebar have the breeze in the first half, the way they're lining it out. So, it will be, I suppose, backs to the wall stuff early on, try and keep in the game for as long as possible in this first half against the breeze, and try and drive on. It'll suit Garrymore. They play counter-attacking football, and hopefully that'll suit them and get a few scores early.
There's a change on the Garrymore team. We say there, Cathal Slattery is in net for Darren Quinn. As we mentioned earlier, the two changes on the Castlebar team are Shane Ryan in for Niall McCartney and James Durkin in for Anthony O'Boyle. John Glavey, the referee for Mahamore, is almost ready to get us underway. And we're off. And Danny Kirby, or Barry Moran, wins the throw-in, and it's going to be a free. John Glavey gives the first free of the game to Castlebar, and quickly taken fed inside, looking for the speed and tournament Neil Douglas, and Neil Douglas lays it off, a nice ball, and there's a first shot an anger, and that is over the bar, and that's a great score in the first moment of the play. Quick direct football, the kind of style that Castlebar have been doing this year.
Yeah, exactly, Tom. Great feeling by Barry. Barry's gone obviously to midfield. Line out number 11 gone to midfield. Really good ball into Neil Douglas. Offloaded King Costin outside the right over bar. Fine start for Castlebar. They'll be happy with that.
Kick out for Brian Linsky, first one of the game. Opts to go short to the cornerback, can't keep hold it up. It's Jamie Oates who spilled it but managed to get his hands back on it, gives it back to the goalkeeper, and Garrymore looking to build from the back, known for their counter-attack football, as Danny mentioned. So with Castlebar will be looking to push high, which is what they're doing. They have a line of 6 or 7 players trying to push up on the Garrymore defence, and Castlebar are just pinning them in at the moment inside their own 45, and they're just keeping possession of the ball, very economical with it, and they're trying to look for a runner. Ball eventually finds its way to Trevor Nally, who gets into midfield, and he's making a great stride there, but he's pulled back by James Durkin, so it's going to be a free just in front of the stand here at Elverys MacHale Park. A nice crowd coming in for this first game of a double header here live on Mayo GAA TV. If you want to get in touch with us here, you can contact us on our Twitter page at Mayo GAA. That free kick spills back in, and Barry Moran, as it's wearing 11 on his back, pops it off and gets to David Stenson. Stenson lays it off to the cornerback, who's Johnny Mohan, and he can't keep hold of the ball and loses possession, and Garrymore can build from the back with Cathal Slattery and Shane Nally. Back to Slattery, and Garrymore trying to get their first score of the game and take a solo into the contact and spills the ball, and the ball is claimed by Trevor Nally. The referee is going to give a free, so it's going to be a free for Garrymore in the left corner forward position, and you have to say that was a patient, slow build up from Garrymore.
Yeah, brilliant interception by Cathal Slattery, and he used his pace, and it really looks like it's troubling the Castlebar defence. He broke very quickly and got clear of them, got a bit fortunate, the ball broke loose, and Trevor Nally put his body on the line and got the free, and hopefully Mark Tierney now can stick this over for us.
Austin, it's been a cagey opening 3 or 4 minutes, and both sides are pushing high and defending well.
Yeah, it has been cagey, all right there. Notably, I suppose, looking at Castlebar playing with kind of a sweeper sitting off the top of the D there, and it's kind of forcing Garrymore not to kick early, so they have to put it through the hands and come as they did there late. But when they get inside that 40 there, they look threatening, and they won a very good free there, so probably look to that this will tie it up, you know.
Slight concern here for one of the Mitchell's players is just, Shane Hopkins, the left corner forward, found himself tracking his runner, his marker. So the free is taken, and that's popped over the bar. So it's 1 point each here between Castlebar and Garrymore, and we'll be looking to keep an eye there on Shane Hopkins. He still feels uncomfortable. The hand has gone up from the physio out of shot, so I think Castlebar are going to be enforced into a change here. Castlebar, but loose pass from Paddy Durkin, and it's recovered there by Cathal Slattery. He lays it inside to Shane Nally, and Garrymore building again inside the 45, and Micheál Connolly going left, going right, looking to get a shot off. Great block by Paddy Durkin, but the ball spills Garrymore way, and the runner James King is coming through. He's into the D, he's in front of the goal, he's going to have a go, and that is over the bar, and that's a great score for Garrymore.
Brilliant score by James King. Broke up from the back as the play kind of got broke up, and he was found well there by Slattery, and a brilliant point. Great start for Garrymore.
Great start for Garrymore. Sorry, Dad. I usually do this stand up, so if you don't mind, stand up. So that Shane Hopkins is down. They're definitely going to have to make a change, I think. And we're looking at the Castlebar dugout. I think they're still trying to find out what's going on. I didn't see what happened. Did you see anything there, Kevin? What did he?
I think it was just the very first free there, Tom. He the Garrymore player was going down, and Shane Hopkins, I thought actually, to be honest, it was a bit of a soft free. He obviously just kind of ran into him. It looks like his lower knee or his shin. And just for the viewers there, it's Shane Hopkins. Shane Hopkins lines out at number 15, but he does a sweeping roll for Castlebar. He drops back straight away. So it's looking like he's going to continue. You know, I know Shane quite well. He won't want to go off. So
we can just see the replay of the James King score there, and Garrymore were building from the side and it came through the middle, but we're back live here at MacHale Park and the mark isn't taken, so Danny Kirby gives a low ball inside into Douglas. He can't get it up at the first attempt with the flick, and Garrymore come away with the ball with Kieran Cunningham. Back to the number 4 Patrick Hession, and they come across the field to Caelan Crowe, who's been in good form this year for Garrymore, is trying to get the team going, and there's a line of yellow shirts in front of him, but they pop it over the top, and it's Brendan Cunningham couldn't quite claim it, and that left space for Johnny Maughan to burst through, and Douglas delivers a quick ball inside to Danny Kirby. Thought about the shot. He's closed up by 2 Garrymore defenders, but Johnny Maughan hold his ground, and he swung his right boot at that, and that's a good score for Castlebar to counter the Garrymore attack.
yeah, good turnover. Garrymore overplayed a hand pass just there. It's picked up by Johnny Maughan. Played a nice ball into Danny Kirby. Johnny Maughan then took the return. Nice score for Castlebar.
There is a substitute. Shane Hopkins that injury has meant he's had to come off. So coming in will be number 19, which will be Aidan Walsh, and it'll be an early start for him. So Shane Hopkins obviously couldn't continue with his injury, and Garrymore get us back underway. Again, Caelan Crowe sees quite a lot of the ball for Garrymore in these opening stages, and once again the yellow wall for Castlebar is across the middle of the pitch. 7-8 players that drop back to ensure they can't get through, but as Garrymore proved on the last 2 attacks, to get over that you just pass the ball over the top, and they're looking for movement inside, and Castlebar forcing Garrymore just to go left and right and pressuring the man in possession when they can. And that's better for Garrymore. Breaking in as Caelan Crowe lays it off to Cunningham. Gives a quick ball inside. Can't get it at the first attempt, but flicks it back out to James King, but they can't get it between them, and coming away with the ball was James Durkin. And Castlebar looking for Douglas at every opportunity when they get the ball inside, and he's faced up with 2 Garrymore players. So once again, Castlebar, similar to the Garrymore, so just trying to keep possession, trying to create an opening with Barry Moore, and gives the ball in, but that's read well by MacHale Connolly, and Garrymore can counter attack. They opt to go quick, and that's a pass into Shane Nally, into Brendan Cunningham, and that's a given to Mark Tierney. Tierney turns left, takes a solo. He's trying to work an angle to get a score. He's looking for support play. MacHale Connolly gets to him, and Garrymore go back to the middle of the field, back to Shane Nally, and Nally's calling for the support, and it's coming in the form of Trevor Nally, and Trevor face up, gets around the challenge of Owen O'Reilly, lays it outside to Cunningham, and Cunningham switches the play into the diagonal, trying to get an early goal. That's a great turn from Jimmy Killeen, and Jimmy Killeen has scored, got his opening score of the game, and a very patient score from Garrymore. And Jimmy Killeen shows you if age isn't a factor, you can just take scores whenever he gets the ball. He's been doing that for years for Garrymore.
Well, he has. I think his tally is 17 goals, 259 points. He'll be adding 1 to that. Jimmy, very experienced, did really well there. Won a difficult ball that was sent across the box, but waiting to get Trevor Nally on the overlap, and doing well.
High ball hit in towards Danny Kirby, but they couldn't win it, so the goalkeepers come all the way out to get it. He's mishit the shot, and Brian Linsky is sent it straight to Danny Kirby, but Garrymore get back in numbers, and Caelan Crowe strips the ball away, and Shane Nally gets Garrymore moving away from the danger zone, and MacHale Connolly, and they switch the play over to the far side to Trevor Nally, and there's runners again looking for it, and it's the good challenge there from Brendan Cunningham. Keeps hold of the ball, held up well by Owen O'Reilly. So Castlebar have managed to get men back, and they've trying to slam the door, but the Garrymore running game seems to be causing a few problems, and Patrick Hessian all the way back to Shane Nally. Caelan Crowe. And slow build up again for Garrymore. They're trying to work the angle, get the score, and on the run again is Patrick Hessian. He's made 2 or 3 forays into the opposition half. He's trying to draw the attention to get the free man, and it's a snap shot, but unfortunately that drop short's into the hands of goal. Miles Fallon's shot, and Castlebar now are looking to counter at pace, and the game, both teams just feeling their way out in these early stages of the match, and it's 3 points to 2 to Garrymore. Danny Kirby to Cian Costello, who can't keep hold of the ball, but the support play was there. Little ball around the corner by Aidan Walsh, finds to his left, trying to work the score, but he's been very well marshalled by Jamie Oates. Gets it out to Danny Kirby, and Danny from the right side just flashes wide, but again patient build up from Castlebar.
Yeah, patient build up, waiting for Neil Douglas. There's a couple of fellas when Castlebar are attacking, there's a couple of fellas sticking to Neil. Ball back to Danny, probably should have scored, he'll be disappointed. See Ray O'Malley actually has gone back into the sweeping role now since Aidan Walsh has come on, and Aidan Walsh is picking up, I think he's picking up Brendan Cunningham from right.
Brian Lindsay goes long, and that's a mark taken, kept well in play by Brendan Cunningham. Cunningham to Nally. Garrymore exchanging hand passes. Shane Nally looking to go long, he's holding up the ball. Pressurised by Cian Costello, and Garrymore go all the way back inside their own 45, back to the safety of Kieran Cunningham, and he switches the play to Caelan Crowe. Crowe held up, trying to get away from Danny Kirby. Still managed to keep hold of about 2-3 Castlebar attackers around him, but Garrymore keeping the possession very, very well. And Darren Quinn to Nally, free man is Caelan Crowe. He's going to have a go, and that's just going to go. Kept in play by Rory Byrne, the captain for Castlebar Mitchels, and it gets Castlebar moving again, and that's 2 opportunities that have fallen a bit short for Garrymore, and they'll hopefully won't rue those chances. We'll have coming up to 12 minutes gone in the first half here, live from Elverys MacHale Park. That's a good sidestep from Aidan Walsh, or from James Durkin. And looking to get the ball inside, it's turned over again by the Garrymore defence, and both teams are playing very systematically. Garrymore defending numbers, try to break at pace, and as we can see here, there's only one Garrymore forward in the opposition half, Austin, and it's going to be maybe one of those games where a mistake could be costly.
Yeah, young Tierney just seems to be holding his line inside there. Jimmy Killeen is actually playing very, very interesting. He's almost playing as an orthodox wing forward, and it's kind of dragging the whole Castlebar kind of centre half back line. They're keeping a lot of weight there, so it is interesting, but it's allowing Castlebar to drift back, I suppose, and leave a sweeper as well, but they are getting dividend of it.
Good luck to Declan Riley and Castlebar Mitchels watching from Budapest, from Siobhan Regan and from Michael Moyles. Great service on Mayo GAA TV. Myself and the Alpha are getting comfortable for a good evening of Sunday football. Thanks for getting in touch. As I said, you can get in touch with us on Twitter or Facebook, or contact us on mayogaatv.com. And again, it seems to be a game at the moment of 2 systems kind of cancelling themselves out, and Garrymore will be happy to try and suck Castlebar in, and then maybe, as we said, try and hit them on the quick counter.
Well, playing against the breeze, Garrymore will be very happy with just keeping Castlebar at bay and keeping in the game, get into half time and try and be in the game, and with the breeze in the second half with the likes of Shane Nally, it'll suit him with long range points and stuff like that. But they've really started really well, Garrymore. Castlebar tactically seem to be struggling with the way Garrymore, they're not pushing up on them. Garrymore are happy to hold the ball and play it around and wait for the opportunity to present itself.
We can see free quickly taken, held up well by James Durkin. Both Paddy Durkin and Barry Moore and went for Paddy Durkin, grabbed it and he put it wide. That's the 3rd wide, I think, for now for Castlebar, but Castlebar still trying to find their way into the game.
Yeah, and that's, to be honest, Paddy being very quiet. That's his really first or second touch of the ball. He'd probably be disappointed. Yeah, Garrymore getting them in behind the ball, and Castlebar probably just playing a little bit narrow at the moment, and they're probably just not accurate enough with their hand passes. So Yeah, they need to pick it up a bit.
Especially playing with the breeze, you'd be thinking that given the footballers that they have who can take scores, they should be making more use of it.
Yeah, it's true, but you know, there's only one man inside Neil Douglas, and there's a man marking him, there's a man in front of him. So Castlebar seem to be just running it off the shoulder. That's the plan.
Garrymore and recycles to Paddy Durkin, who, as I said, just feeling his way into the game now. Now to Danny Kirby. Castlebar exchanging hand passes on the Garrymore 45. Worked the runner coming off the shoulder, as mentioned by Kevin, and that's an opportunity, and that's gone to the left, and that's another wide for Castlebar. So 3 points to 2, coming up to 15 minutes. As Danny said, for Garrymore playing into the breeze, a point up at the moment. If they can keep within 1 or 2 points at half time, the game can be swung around very, very quickly. So Brian Linsky looks to get us moving again. As we said, there's Jimmy Killeen is hugging the touchline, as mentioned by Austin O'Malley, and that's out towards that side, and it's broken for Durkin, and he releases it quickly into Danny Kirby. Danny Kirby looking for an angle ball into Douglas, and he look on the loop around. He had a runner, he didn't give it the first time. The ball was on to David Stenson, but Neil Douglas didn't release it in time, and Garrymore turned it over, and coming away with the ball is Cathal Slattery, being held up by Ger McDonough, but he has support coming from Miles Fallon. And then Garrymore again, Bill efficiently have runners coming off to show Keelan Crowe looking to support Trevor Nally, and that's a good ball inside, taken well out in front. 2 men shadowing, but it couldn't keep it into the hand. Hopped it down on it is James King. James King got up. Now was a foul as James King went down for it. It looked like James Durkin fouled Mark Tierney, so it's going to be a free for Garrymore in a very scoreable position.
Yeah, they showed good patience there. Tierney nearly broke inside there, did well to win the ball from Keelan Crowe, and they showed patience there, and off the ball Mark Tierney was taken out of it, so Jimmy has this chance to put it over.
Jimmy Killeen, as already mentioned, has a score of several hundred points for Garrymore in his career. It's a fine tally to have. As we say, Garrymore kicking just into the breeze in this first half. Jimmy trying to curl it in, but it's going to go to the left and wide, and maybe trying to compensate for the win that time, and just went to the wide. So 3 points to 2, coming up to 17 minutes gone in the first half. The fine kick up from Rory Byrne, well taken by Barry Moore, and then Castlebar can drive, and it's Paddy Durkin offloads it to Stenson from far, and that's another wide, and you have to say that's about the 5th wide for Castlebar now. And would it be any concern for Declan Shaw and Declan Riley?
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with the finishing. Yeah, that's Aidan Walsh just before that. That's David Stenson. Danny's missed one. Yeah, they need to get their shooting boots on, because there is a breeze there. Yeah, it'll be worrying. But look, they're making the chances. It's just a matter of converting them now.
Linsky goes long towards Cunningham, but that's well taken by Ger McDonough. He gives a free. He tries to kick it away, but hit his own player. Not sure what happened. Aidan Walsh. So the crowd aren't happy, but John Glavey is the man who makes the decisions, and he says it was a mark called, so Castlebar have possession. I think it was Kirby to Durkin, right-footed, trying to get a angle, but that's another wide for Castlebar. They seem to be snatching at their shots. They're being pressured by the Garrymore defenders, and they're getting around the kickers and then putting them under pressure as they strike the ball.
Yeah, the half-back line are doing really well there. Kieran Cunningham, Trevor Nally are getting in close all the time, putting pressure on the kick the whole time. They're afraid to shoot, and when they do select the shot, it's the wrong one.
Garrymore coming down the right. Trevor Nally held up by Durkin, recycles the ball to Brendan Cunningham to Miles Fallon, into Cathal Slattery, who switches the play to the other side of the field, and Garrymore playing, as we said, with Jimmy Killeen on hugging the touchline. But as the ball is approaching, he's making a run across the 21 at the moment, and Keelan Crowe can get his head up. Kieran Cunningham couldn't read the pass. He thought it was going inside to. Going to be out, but we're going to 19 minutes gone in the first half. 3 points to 2. Garrymore lead. Another scoring opportunity for Castlebar, but that's a wild kick from Neil Douglas, and it goes another wide. And as we said, Castlebar forwards need to get their shooting boots on. They've racking up the wides here, and the crowd are getting a small bit restless with the shot selection. So we'll see how they go on. As we said, both teams have scoring well in this year's championship. Garrymore scoring 946 in the games they've played, and Castlebar 558, so it could be a case that both teams have just been certain. That's a big shoulder taken by Aidan Walsh. And Kieran Cunningham and Garrymore breaking aside with Barry Moore and can't quite keep the ball, and back there helping out is Caelan Crowe. The two, no free, says the referee. It was the two Garrymore players seem to come together, but it looks like Danny Kirby is injured. He's down on the 21 there in the Garrymore half, but Garrymore continuing the play. Coming again with Miles Fallon, who's seen plenty of the ball in the first half, so the attention now can be called for Kirby. But it would seem to be two Garrymore players came together, and Danny Kirby seemed to go. Don't think there was any intent.
I don't think there was, but again, look, it was a sloppy hand pass from Keenan to Barry. These hand passes should be going to hand. It went past Barry, kind of overrun, and it was, just fellas just pulling on the ball. There was nothing malicious about it, but it's just showing the quality. Like the quality of the first half from Castlebar hasn't been good enough. The shooting, the hand passes, they're not just executing them properly.
Aidan Walsh to Durkin, plays it into Owen O'Reilly, tries to break the challenge, but Garrymore turn over the ball as they have done. And possession of the ball seems to be everything for both teams, and Garrymore are working the ball across their own half line, but a slip there from Jamie Oates. The referee deemed that the ball touched the ground, so it's going to be a free for Castlebar. Just lost his footing there as the ball came to him, and both hands went down to the ground with the ball.
Yeah, Jamie's having a fantastic game. Really unlucky there. Just slipped with the ball and just touched it on the ground. But he's been doing really well. Castlebar very rattled. It's a pity actually they get such a soft score like that. But yeah, they'll be happy enough, Garrymore, now with this so far.
It's going to be a free to level the game. David Stenson with the free for Castlebar. 3 points to 2. And that ties us up 3 points all. So after 21 and a half minutes, it's 3 points apiece. And with the breeze behind their backs, Castlebar will be hoping to, for the next 9 or 10 minutes, to get a few more scores onto the scoreboard. Garrymore changing up the kickouts, going short this time. Linsky to Oates. And they're moving the ball well, Garrymore. They're keeping possession very, very well. And Shane Nally plays it back to Brian Linsky, who's a fair mile out from his goal in the acreage. He's all in front here over the top of the 15, 16 players, condensing in between the 245s and making it very tight. And Garrymore with the two players inside. The ball is turned over again. One back there by Stenson. Keane Costello feeds David Stenson, delivers it into Danny Kirby. Danny Kirby can't hold the ball. Jamie Oates' combination of Jamie Oates and Patrick Hessian get the ball over the sideline, quickly taken by Danny Kirby to Durkin. He's going to have a go again from his shot selection, but again it's the shot selection that's letting Castlebar down at the moment, and you feel that the longer this first half goes on, the more comfortable Garrymore will be with the keeping Castlebar shooting from distance. Yeah,
Kieran Cunningham is putting pressure on the kick every time. He's getting the hand in, he's getting close to the guy, and they're hurrying their kicks and they're under pressure.
Would it have been something Kevin Walsh would have identified, trying to keep Castlebar to their shooting from distance?
Oh, definitely. It's something he'd always work on, is trying to make it hard for the opposition to score and limiting their chance.
Kick out, breaks to Paddy Durkin. Quick ball inside to Danny Kirby, going direct this time, trying to offload it, but he couldn't get it to Barry Moore. And Garrymore, the red wall says you're not coming through this time either, and Caelan Crowe brings Garrymore into the Castlebar half of the field, but Castlebar are defending well there with Shane Irwin, but it's a free this time and quickly taken to Miles Fallon, who finds himself in 10 yards of space. He's being held up by Owen O'Reilly. Quick ball into Jimmy Killeen, being held up by Johnny Mahan. Killeen looking for help. Back there is Cathal Slattery, but Castlebar managed to turn over the ball, and Castlebar are looking to inject some pace and trying to get the team get the team going and get the crowd behind them. As we said, it's a very quiet atmosphere at the moment here in MacHale Park, with Durkin into the Garrymore 45, going back across the field now from Ray O'Malley, switches the angle of the play across the field, and Neil Douglas comes out for the ball, and he has Jamie Oates with him, as he had with him all afternoon so far. And Garrymore forced Castlebar back outside the 45, but that's a foul. It seemed that Cian Costello was going down, and it was a foul from Jamie Oates, and the referee has played an advantage earlier, and so he's going to be a free for Castlebar. So again, this needs to go over the bar, you feel, with the just come about 5-6 minutes to go in the first half again.
Yeah, it's a slow scoring game. Castlebar probably have had most of the chances. Neil Douglas seems to be kicking this off the ground. David Simpson kicked the other one on the left hand side from the hand, so Castlebar need to hit this. Yeah. Interesting enough as well, Garrymore seem to be changing. Mark Tierney now is out around the 45, and Jimmy Killian has gone in one-on-one on Johnny Mahan inside. So seem to be switching. Jimmy Killian and Mark Tierney seem to be switching in and out, but Jimmy's in there the last 3-4 minutes.
So that's popped over the bar for Neil Douglas, and Garrymore are a point down now. As we said, Jimmy Killian and Mark Tierney are alternating the role, hugging the touchlines, and Cathal Slattery does the same on the far side. So it's an interesting tactic that, as you said, Garrymore are doing. They're trying to widen the pitch to try and force Castlebar to defend wide.
Yeah, Kevin has been working on that lately with them, and it's worked very well against Ballina the last day. But it also gives some of the players a chance to get a breather inside. Jimmy's getting a breather inside now, and Mark out working.
Castlebar come on the attack. Patrick Durkin demanding the ball is Danny Kirby back in the pocket, but it comes to James Durkin. Exchanges 2 quick passes, and then on his right foot that time, much better from Castlebar. 2 quick scores. Sees this 2-point lead now. Last 3 scores have gone to Castlebar, building a slow bit of momentum as we come to the closing stages of the first half.
Yeah, look, at doing the right option there, playing it off the hands with little 1-2s, bring the ball inside to the scoring zone, and nice score from James Durkin, 20 yards out.
Castlebar getting through the that time. They'll be looking to restrict them as we approach half time. Ball breaks, Danny Kirby gets a hand to it, but falls to Kieran Cunningham. Micheál Connolly goes back. There's one man inside in the full forward line for Garrymore at the moment. They're trying to release the ball as they can, and Gary Golden gets around 2 tackles, gets around Danny Kirby as well. Offloads it to Kieran Cunningham, back to Shane Nally. Nally pops it over the top to his midfield partner. There's a chance here for Garrymore with Trevor Nally. Comes inside, he gives it, and trying to squeeze it across, but the ball was intercepted, and Jimmy Killian going for that ball. It's a good shoulder from Jimmy Killian, and they're coming around the side is Mark Tierney. Tierney out to Slattery. He has Kieran Cunningham, and Castlebar force Garrymore back outside the 45, but it was an opportunity there for Miles Fallon, and it's with Shane Nally now with the outside of the left boot from on the 45, and you can hear from the road. It's a great score from Shane Nally, and a goal opportunity doesn't materialise, but Shane Nally with a fine point.
Yeah, half chance from Miles Fallon there. The ball just didn't come to him right from Trevor. Great move, but that point from Shane Nally outside the 45 against the breeze. Surely that's what we're looking for against Dublin a couple of weeks ago.
4 points to 5, 27, coming up to 28 minutes in the first half played here in the Treanlaur Catering Senior Championship semi-final between Garrymore and Castlebar. We have the second semi-final live for you on Mayo GAA TV.com as well, between Ballintubber and Claremorris. So it's a fantastic feast of football here at the Mayo headquarters. And Castlebar with a 1-point lead approaching half time. They'll be looking to get another score, and Barry Moran from 35 metres. That's a great score from Barry Moran. Well capable of doing that. Doesn't do it as often as he probably should.
No, look at Barry's. I know from Barry, he's really accurate off kick passer and really good when he gets into that zone for kicking scores. So yeah, good score. Worked the ball patiently across the hands, and
Gary short out. Kieran Cunningham to Micheál Connolly. Castlebar back defending it with their numbers. They only have one player in their own half of the field at the moment, and Garrymore trying to work it, and cornerback Patrick Hession coming up, and that's a ball for Gary Golden, trying to dink a little ball inside towards Brendan Cunningham. Brendan Cunningham was coming short, and he thought he was going to hold the quarter final, but as you can possibly hear, 2 minutes of added time. Patrick Durkin on the attack for Castlebar. They switch it out to James Durkin. He's going to holds it up, and he has his brother for company. and he's going to switch the play. His 2 players calling for it, and he spots them over there, and it's Ger McDonough from a similar position to Garrymore, and then that's a fine score, and 2 big scores from 2 big players.
Yeah, good score from Ger, showing some of the forwards the way to goals. Yeah, great score, very patient from Paddy and James. Crossfield ball, Garrymore, a lot of players pulled to the left, and good score.
Just come, as we heard there, 2 minutes of injury time to be played. Garrymore will need to get a score to try and cut the deficit from the 3 points.
I think they'd be happy enough going in 3 down. They played fairly well. They frustrated Castlebar and have the breeze in the second half and maybe have a bit more of a go at it.
The breeze and possibly the games they play will probably suit them, trying to release the ball early, switch the play from back to front as quickly as possible, bypass the massive players that seem to be congregating between the 245s.
Yeah, well, hopefully Shane Nally try and unlock the opposition defence with the breeze behind him in the second half. That's what we were looking for. Nearly had an opportunity there a few minutes ago. Brendan Cunningham got inside, the ball just didn't go into him.
Castlebar forcing Garrymore back into their own 45. They've trying to get it up, but it's a strong challenge. The referee said it's a free. He turned his shoulder, so it's going to be a free in the middle of the field, and Gary Golden is down injured. He certainly felt the effects of that tackle, so we're going to get a little bit of attention. So we have 30 seconds of the injury time played, and Gary's back up on his feet. Gary, a good soccer player as well.
Yeah, I haven't followed his soccer career now, but
and he's sporting a fine hairstyle as well. And that's another hit from Shane Nally, but this time it just leaks to the right and wide, a scoring opportunity. So Gary Golden is back on his feet, and he's back marking Danny Kirby. Castlebar, Rory Byrne, captain for Castlebar, chips it out to Shane Irwin. Quick ball inside, looking for Douglas. He's only one man inside, and he can aim at his Keane Costello and tries to find him, but out in front is Patrick Hessian, and Garrymore come away with the ball back to Brian Linsky. Linsky switches the play out to the far side, and a few hardy people out there on the far side. As we said, there's a bit of a breeze blowing out front on the media tower, and Garrymore with Cathal Slattery trying to get another score before half time. 4 points to 7. Castlebar lead in a low scoring first half of the Treanlaur Catering Senior Championship. First semi-final today, live for you on Mayo GAA TV.com. And trying to get away from Keane Costello is Trevor Nally. He's inside the 21, loses the ball. He tries to flick it outside to Jimmy Killeen, couldn't do it, and the Castlebar defenders, and that's the half-time whistle here from MacHale Park. 4 points to 7. Castlebar lead in the first semi-final of the day. We'll switch over to Liam Horan with Austin O'Malley. We'll get ready for the second half.
Thanks very much, Tom, and to Kevin and Danny. We'll be talking to Kevin and Danny in a moment, but first of all, Austin O'Malley, early on Garrymore made a lot of the running, missed some chances. Mitchell's missed a lot of chances as well, but towards the end of the half, Mitchell's pulling away a little bit, getting 7-4 clear. It's a fair bit of daylight considering how close the game was.
No, it is, yeah, certainly. Mitchell seemed to have settled there in that last sort of 6 or 8 minutes, and they just seem to be, I think what has really helped them is the fact that Ger McDonough has come a lot more into the game as well. Miles Fallon has obviously, he's drifted out to the middle, and I don't know if that could be actually counterproductive for Garrymore, as Ger McDonough is quite a good ball player, and he's weighed in there with a score, but they've, Garrymore made all the run in the early or in the first sector there, and they just probably could have done with another score or two to keep them in. So as you said there, it is quite a bit of daylight, particularly when you're playing an established team like Castlebar, because they know how to close games out, so yeah, it
has that feel that Garrymore had a run at it, didn't capitalise. Mitchells have got some of the Darragh O'Shea dirty petrol out of the system, if they have.
I think you're right there. It looks like that they're just coming to the boil incrementally there. Like as I said, I thought Castlebar at the start, they did look sort of ponderous and leggy, and they were taking the wrong options, but they seem to spread the play a little bit better now, and their better ball players are coming into it, and they look a little bit more settled, and they're breaking lines a lot smarter than they were prior, and they're stretching Garrymore, whereas they weren't before. They were going down the middle into that sort of Red Sea of traffic. So they've got a right foothold in this now.
What do you feel, Danny?
We're happy enough with that. At half time, we said before the game if they could go in touch, and they're very much in touch. Maybe could be a little closer, but they'll be happy. Just 3 points down with the breeze behind them. second half. They've troubled Castlebar. They've nullified a lot of the threat Castlebar have. Like Paddy Durkin hasn't gotten in the game yet as well. Kevin's come up with good tactic there. Miles Fallon is tracking him. He's actually doing a great job on him, and they're not really troubling us like with their pace.
Okay, they did get a few scores near the end though. You haven't made a lot of the running earlier on.
Yeah, it seemed to open up a bit more near the end. That I think Castlebar pushed on a bit more on them. But Garrymore will be very happy just going in 3 down.
Danny's giving them a good shout, Chet. What did you think, Kevin?
Yeah, it was a slow start. Mitchell's come in, as Austin said, Mitchell's will come into more in the last, say, 5, 6, 7 minutes. Thought they were forcing some of the shots. James took a shot there that really wasn't on. Some of the handling inside hasn't been good. Danny's handling hasn't been good enough. Execution of hand passes, sloppy overrunning hand passes. I think they've been a little bit more controlled. Austin made a very good point. I think Joe McDonough has pushed forward. Has probably made it, settle it a little bit and taken the right options. But yeah, they'll be a lot happier going in now with the performance the last 5 minutes. The scores have tagged on. Barry scored from play. Joe McDonough scored from play. A lot of work. King Costa doing an awful lot of work. Ray O'Malley doing a lot of work. Owen Riley doing well around the middle of the field. I think the last 3 or 4 kickouts Garrymore that have gone long, Mitchells have won them from the Garrymore kickouts. So I think Castlebar are very happy going in at half time. I'm not sure how big a factor the wind is. I've seen Shane Nally has kicked a score there from just inside the 50. He missed just another one there before half time. I don't know if it's that big of a factor, to be honest, and especially the way Castlebar play. They like to play it off the shoulder. They like to create little mismatches, come at pace, and I can see goals in the second half.
Okay, well, we're just going to take a look at the crowd coming in here as well. The big crowd coming in for the second game, Ballintubber versus Claremorris, of course. And we're also going to take a look at some highlights in the first half. I'm going to bring all of you with me to have a look at these. And first of all, we've got a James King point for Garrymore. I'll get you, Danny, to talk through. Garrymore got some good scores, it must be said. And I think James King, the first one was a free, possibly. Is that right? No, that's not James King then.
Yeah, this is the free. I think Garrymore's first got fouled, and Mark Tierney scored the free.
Yeah, Mark, of course, reliable free taker for Garrymore there. We'll line up a few more of those in a moment and we'll see where we are. But Garrymore, as we said, Austin, at the start, got out of the blocks pretty well, contained Garrymore, Castlebar Mitchels, brought the game to a nice level, no big panic, nice and steady, and looked like they were knocking the wind out of Mitchels a little bit. And Mitchels were, as you said on a Facebook Live we did a few months ago, lacking a bit of composure early on.
They were, yeah, and I suppose Garrymore, like they would take a lot of, I suppose, impetus from what they've done going in there. But I just think that in the last maybe 10 minutes there, I thought Garrymore they were quite ponderous around the middle, that they weren't breaking through the Castlebar line quick enough. They were allowing Castlebar to back, and I think Castlebar were wide to that there in the last maybe 6 or 8 minutes, and they were getting numbers back. If Garrymore, I think, are to get dividend in this or to push on, they need to be coming through that middle third at pace. They're a little bit ponderous. They're shifting from left to right, and they're giving Castlebar an opportunity to funnel back in. And it's not helping them because they're playing with one up. So it's very hard to hit that as a lone striker out there.
James King broke the line great once. Danny got a great score. Trevor Nally made a sortie upfield as well. Just couldn't hold his footing. They have made a few bursts, but as Austin said, probably need a few more to really put Mitchell on the back foot back there.
Yeah, well, that's what they'd work on is always getting the man coming on the overlap there, coming from deep. And James King's very fit, very powerful young guy, and great to see him getting a score there. Trevor Nally on a number of occasions got very close to breaking through at the end there. He nearly broke through as well for a goal chance, and I think he actually has got the power on James Durkin there to trouble him. Trevor's very powerful, having a great season for Garrymore. Nearly got in for the goal chance there, even if he could have taken a point there. Go in 2 down. I think they'd have been happy with that.
Okay, Jimmy Killian, of course. You said he's playing his 69th game for Garrymore, and he won a great ball across the goal for this score and took a very good point.
Yeah, just looking at Jimmy was brave here, got the ball, and then on the turn, he's doing that for 20 years. Great score.
Much space to play with. He had to get his kick off really quickly there, hadn't he?
I think Jimmy likes actually the tight spaces. The closer the defenders get to him, the more he likes to turn them and twist around them. So it did very well for that score, yeah. And hopefully the second half now they'll get a bit more early ball into Jimmy, and he can trouble Mitchels at the back.
Shane Nally as well, I think, got one of the Garrymore points in that first half. We're going to get a look at that as well too. Shane, of course, the Mayo senior player, very accomplished kicker of the ball.
Oh, well, this is a super score from Shane. Garrymore showed great patience.
Danny, yes, and you're a bit ahead of our viewers, Danny, at the moment. You're ahead of your time. Not for the first time.
No, of course.
Just see a bit more of the build-up. Anyway, there's a small bit of a technical problem on the replays. We'll get that resolved in a few minutes. Maybe see a bit more of the build-up there to see exactly how Garrymore opened them up. And as I said here, it's 7 points to 4 at half-time in this Treanlaur Catering Mayo Senior Football Championship semi-final here at Elverys MacHale Park. Mercifully good weather, it has to be said. And that bodes well for the second game as well between Ballintubber and Claremorris. Here on Mayo GAA TV.com. We've got more of the Shane Nally one now, Danny.
Move attack couldn't get through. They recycled the ball over to Shane and from 45 yards, spectacular.
He's a beautiful kicker of the ball, thunderous kicker of the ball.
Oh, brilliant, like against the breeze there. That's just super, and that's what he can do. He does it time and again for us.
Okay, Kevin, you were wondering beforehand about the Mayo players who hadn't got much game time throughout the year. Barry, Donny Newcombe, Danny Kirby. How do you feel they're going?
Yeah, sort of a mixed bag. I think Barry started well, caught a great ball in the middle of the field for the throw-in. That's what Barry's bread and butter is. Got a good score. He probably would have been in for a goal there earlier on. Neil Douglas just delayed dilly-dally with moving the ball a little bit quicker. For you quicker hands, Barry could have been in for a goal. I think Barry's done quite well. He's improved. He was a lot better today than he was against Knockmore. He's probably a big scorer. Hasn't really been seeing much of the ball. Donny's been well tied up. Danny will probably be slightly disappointed. His handling, he's running hard, but his tackling and his shooting and his handling probably could improve.
And another great Castlebar Mitchels servant, Gerard McDonough, got upfield for a point.
Yeah, it was over on the left hand side. James and Paddy were looking probably to pop the score, cut inside. Garrymore held it up, a really good crossfield ball to Gerard McDonough inside of the toe and over the bar. Look, Gerard's well able to score. He's a good kicker of the ball. He's played a lot of football around midfield, and I suppose with the absence of Alan Feeney, Gerard's been taking up the fullback role for the last 2 years.
Okay, and you feel he's comfortable out the field, of course. He's played midfield, centre back as well. I'm going to round off the half-time break now with Austin O'Malley, our match analyst, and to get his final thoughts before the teams come back out. And the second half resumes. Austin, of course, as we've been saying earlier on, made his exit from last night to the Mayo Intermediate Football Championship, defeated by Kilchma in the championship by Kilchma. You were beaten by Moy David Speed Island 80. Do you still think Mitchell's, Austin, do you think they've got a foothold now? Do you think that the tide has turned, or what's your view? Yeah, I can't think of any more cliches, by the way.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So no, I do. I think they're big. I suppose what we call clutch players like Barry, Moore, and Paddy Durkin they're beginning to settle into the game, and they're beginning to dictate the terms of things there again. So look, without playing awfully well, they've gone in 3 up and they've settled there again. I would fully suspect that they'd push on now, but that's not to say. I think Garrymore need to tweak a few little bit of things, like in terms of they've one left up front that's very isolated. And it's very hard to get Anthony in there. I think maybe if they revert to maybe pushing Jimmy Killeen inside as well, and even go with a front two, or even pull Miles Fallon back in and take Gerard McDonough. He's a big, powerful man out of that middle there. That just to tweak it up and give Castlebar something to think about coming out now again, But I think probably in the home stretch, Castlebar probably have all the aces now,
Okay, well, it will remains to be seen. Of course, we're waiting on both teams to come back out onto the field. We're going to throw a quick eye forward to the next game, Austin. As I said, we have it here, MayoGAA.tv.com, and that's the meeting of Claremorris and Ballintubber. Not one you would have forecast earlier on the year, but a good run by Claremorris to this stage at least, and I'm sure they will be hoping to take on Ballintubber in a serious way. They played recently in the championship and Ballintubber won it relatively comfortably, but semi-finals at this stage things get a bit different.
They do, yeah, and I suppose you have to look at it in terms of Ballintubber coming in and the 2 games that they've put through the system in the last probably 8 to 10 days. And
good thing or bad thing to have that many? I mean, there's 3 games in a week, really, isn't it?
It's 3 games in a week, and no matter what you say, like in terms of recovery and getting your kind of like your glycogen levels back up in terms of muscle energy and all of that, like it's very hard to do that. But I suppose Ballintubber will be looking today, I think, to try and play a really controlled brand of football and not give an opportunity for Claremorris to settle. On the counter of that, I think Claremorris have to come out and absolutely go for this bald-headed, really force the issue early on, because they have quite a young team. They're quite pacey, and if they could get a run on Ballintubber, it might just force the issue, and they might have to come out and they might catch them in the home straight. But again, as I said previously, probably Ballintubber have all the aces in terms of the firepower, and they've a really settled side. But just on a side issue, I know our own club, we played Claremorris early on in the year, and I was talking to Billy Fitzpatrick, and he's been involved with these guys since I think it was maybe under 12 all the way up. And so these guys know each other. There's no major standout star. They're all a bunch. They're all very, very settled as a team together. They know each other inside out, and they're very balanced. So they will force the issue here, but you would suspect that Ballintubber would come through in the end.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Austin. And we will get you, of course, throughout the second half as well with Tom Kearney and Danny McHugh and Kevin Filan. There are long team talks at half time, long pep talks.
Yeah, you would know there could be a couple of tables broken there now at our lights being dusted out.
The carpenter for room 2.
Yeah. But that's the nature of the game, I suppose, at the moment. Most people try and take their recovery time and get their liquids in and get those final little bits and pieces in terms of preparation. So I suppose last week we seen Lahardon in the junior. They didn't waste any time. It was a quick turnaround and it paid dividend for them. So let's see what happens here now. We're expecting both teams, I suppose, out in the field and pretty soon. So again.
7 points to 4. Castlebar Mitchels, the county champions, leading Garrymore. On cue, here come Garrymore. Danny's watching out for any substitutions on the Garrymore team. Nothing appears yet, I think, Danny. That looks like the same 15. I'll be right in that so far, anyway. No strays there yet. Brian Linsky's there.
Yeah, no changes yet, no.
And I'm sure Castlebar Mitchels will be alongside very, very soon as well. Like and share our post about the Cords We Owe ticket on Facebook, and you will be in a draw for a Cords We Owe ticket. And of course, everybody who signs up to watch games here today and yesterday is in a draw for a Cords We Owe ticket as well, which is a ticket to see all of the games next year. And Barry Morden is back out there for Castlebar Mitchels. And what do you think, Kevin? Have any changes there to report to Tom Kearney?
No, it's the same starting 50, or the same 15 that finished the first half are coming out there. So myself and Danny were just chatting there. It's probably going to be very important for Garrymore to get the first couple of scores. If Mitchell's put on 1 or 2 scores here early, Garrymore will be under a lot of pressure and they're going to have to come out and play, and it may open up. So it's going to be very interesting first 5 minutes of the second half.
It was noticeable too that the Castlebar management stayed out for a few minutes and let the team go in. So I'm assuming you'd be thinking they'd be coming up with a different tactic for this second half.
I don't think they will, to be honest. I think probably the running game probably suits Castlebar. You're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see long ball in from Castlebar. They're going to run it off the shoulder. They'll have 2 or 3 options coming off the shoulder. They'll be looking to get little mismatches and an opening and maybe crack a goal, but I can't see much of a difference.
And we're back underway in the second half of the Treanlaur Catering Championship here live from Elverys and MacHale Park, and that's won by Barry Moore and hit very quickly into the hands of Douglas, and Douglas lays it off to Danny Kirby, and he has players coming from all angles. Eventually tries to get it back to Kirby. He's in the large square, right foot, goal for Castlebar, straight from the throw-in. It was won in the middle of the field by Barry Moore, and he hit a first time ball into Neil Douglas. Douglas offloaded it to Kirby. There was a quick exchange of hand passes, and Danny Kirby right footed into the bottom corner of the net.
Super goal. Barry did what he did in the first half, caught the ball, great foot pass into Neil Douglas, off the shoulder Danny Kirby. I think there was a couple of interplays, James Durkin back to Danny, and Danny does really well to finish that. A fantastic score.
Garrymore break on the trying to answer that goal with a score of their own. Shane Alley loses his footing, but he's held up by McDonough, and McDonough sweeps it back inside, but it's over the head of Trevor Nally, and it's swept up there by Ray O'Malley, and that goal has brought this game to life. 1-7 Castlebar, 4 Garrymore, and you have to say, not the start that Garrymore would have wanted.
No, Castlebar showed a lot of ruthlessness there. They had a point for the taking, but they weren't happy with that. They were going to keep going until they opened up the opportunity for the goal, and they took it well. Great start for Castlebar. Hopefully Garrymore don't panic on this and try and keep themselves in the game.
Castlebar looking to get in. There's a jersey pull there. The referee has his hands up. It looks like it was Miles Fallon on Patrick Durkin, but Castlebar continue on the attack, and the Garrymore defence do their job, and the referee said it's over carrying. We're going to show you the goal here quickly, and if you talk through the goal here, it was a great bit of work by Danny Kirby.
Yeah, to a little bit of a scramble. Brilliant ball in initially by Barry, came across Kirby, and it got a super finish low into the bottom corner. Gave keeper no chance really. It was finished with aplomb. Fantastic.
John Glavey shows he's having a chat with Miles Fallon about the jersey pull that was on Patrick Durkin, so it's a yellow card. So it's going to be a free Garrymore. Caelan Crowe goes back to Brian Linsky. Linsky looking to get Garrymore moving again from the back, and Castlebar have shot Garrymore here with the goal in the first moment of the second half. Garrymore are going to have to chase that lead, find themselves 6 points down, and Trevor Nally trying to get something going for Garrymore, being chased down by James Durkin. They're still going, and the referee said it's a free. He was being pulled down, so it's going to be a free for Garrymore, and some great work there by Garrymore, but you'd have to feel that they have to start getting a few scores as fast as they can.
Yeah, I don't think they need to panic too quick. They just need to tap over a few scores and keep themselves in the game. But again, Trevor Nally did great work there, and he has the power on Durkin there to hurt him. He's getting through and won the free well there. So we need to use Trevor as often as possible.
Jimmy Killeen with his trusted left boot taps it over the bar. Garrymore 5 points, Castlebar 1-7. 3 minutes gone in the second half here of the semi-final of the senior championship, and couldn't intercept that ball. He beats the ground in frustration, and Ray O'Malley gets Castlebar moving again to McDonough. McDonough looking for a support. He's trying to pass it, but he's keeping possession of the ball. Attracts 3 Garrymore players and pops it over the top to Ray O'Malley, and O'Malley gives it back to him. Support running there by Patrick Durkin. He's going to deliver a quick ball inside out in front of Douglas. He's able to spin and turn. He was looking for someone coming through. He gets Danny Kirby in the pocket, and Danny's attracted by hassled out of it by 2-3 players, and Castlebar find themselves being pushed back, and Patrick Durkin being tackled by Slattery. The referee said it's going to be a free just on the 45, so it's a free for Castlebar. Patrick Durkin with ball in hand. Just to update you, Ahamore 113, Davits 9 points. That's the relegation semi-final playoff. The loser of that will play Ballinrobe, so it looks like Ahamore, 59 minutes gone, have secured their senior championship status. Here we have a free for Castlebar, and Castlebar are starting to apply a bit of pressure.
Keane does a lot of good work. David Sensen this should be a pretty easy score for David Sensen, 22-23 yards out.
As we said, there's strong breeze blowing here at Elverys MacHale Park. It's into the face of the free taker. A good crowd in the stand here at Elverys MacHale Park for this game today, and that's tapped over the bar by David Stenson. We'll be looking to see how it's tactically changed, and you've noticed something there?
Yeah, I just see there at the start of the second half, Jerry McDonough's pushed out and Shane Nally, so that's a change for the second half. Paddy's picking up, I think Morgan, but I'm right in thinking that, yeah, Jerry McDonough's on Shane Nally, and Gerald stay tight on Shane. Shane was an influence there in the first half for Garrymore.
Kicked away by Ryan Linsky and given straight to Castlebar, and they're on the attack again. Barry Moran feeds it off, and cutting inside is but it's nearly got a touch on the end to get it in the goal. The goalkeeper kept it hold of it. It was kicked in by Aidan Walsh, and lucky for them there was a goal opportunity. It could have been very dangerous, but Linsky swept it up and keeps Garrymore carry goal save for another few minutes, and Garrymore slow building again. Patrick Hessian to Gary Golden, gets through the challenge of Aidan Walsh. Gary Golden try to pop it outside to Cunningham, and they recycle the ball out to Jimmy Killeen, and with that left boot that's over the bar, and that's a good reply from a very lucky very close shave at the other end. Garrymore up the field and get a good score.
Yeah, the ball was dropping short. It was a bad kick attempt, but Linsky did well to come out and command it, and good break up. He tapped it up.
Certainly get Garrymore back into the game. They just, as I said, they might have been a little bit shell-shocked by the goal, but they seem to have settled out, composed themselves.
Yeah, hopefully they can, and just keep tacking over the points, trying to get in within one score of them coming near the end. You know, that's what they'll be looking for.
Danny Kirby trying to get away from the attention of Kieran Cunningham, brings the ball back out towards Cian Costello, who's challenged by Cathal Slattery, and there's a roar from the crowd as that for that. It was just caught him on the shoulder and spun him round. Cian Costello was to take it, but there was a bit of Neil Douglas and I think it's Jamie Oates were getting to know each other a little bit better, and the linesman has got the attention of the referee John Glavey, and we'll see what action will be taken, but it's a yellow card. The free opportunity, so it won't be ball. David was the breaking ball, gives it to Danny Kirby. Danny Kirby has Durkin free on the far side. He's going to try and come inside on his right foot, gets away. The referee said he transfer the ball, can't do that, so turns over the ball, and Garrymore gets the ball brought up as they're taking the free. They can on the left hand side here. There's space in front of him, and they're trying to get through, and that's a great side step from MacHale. Connolly coming onto his left foot, and that's a good score for Garrymore. 2 good scores for Garrymore in the last couple of minutes, and that's getting
the really rattle and Douglas having a good battle in there. Douglas probably maybe a little lucky to get away with a bit of a strike, but yeah, it broke well there, and great score again. MacHale Connolly having a great season, wing back.
Walsh. Ball moving around in the middle of the field, eventually finds its way to Owen O'Reilly. Plays a quick ball out in front again towards Douglas. He's getting away from Oates this time. He has him had him around him all afternoon. Lays it off to Stenson, who's trying to find Douglas again, but he had his back to the ball. Barry Moore cleans up. Back to Ray O'Malley. And Garrymore have 14 players behind the ball, with just Mark Tierney in there in the Castlebar, inside the Castlebar 45. And Paddy Durkin is trying to work the angles for Castlebar, looking for the runners inside, and Douglas makes another run, but he's not played the ball. And Castlebar with Aidan Walsh in the middle of the field. Garrymore defending in numbers and trying to frustrate Castlebar, trying to turn over and slowly build. Stenson finds himself outside the 45, trying to get on the ball, plays the ball out to the left hand wing, and Castlebar are just moving the Garrymore defence around, trying to get a score, trying to work the angle, trying to find the best player in the position to take the score. Paddy Durkin out to Walsh, and Garrymore happy to let Castlebar work the ball there, but as they inject some pace, they're closing up on the player in possession of the ball and just trying to force an error, force a mistake, and Paddy Durkin switches the play out to the wing, out to Johnny Maughan, and Danny Kirby has Jimmy Killeen for company in the right corner back position, and Castlebar just keep in possession of the ball, trying, as we said, to work the angle, and they eventually play a short ball inside to Keegan Costello, finds it out to Barry Moore, and Barry plays it over the top, and Ray O'Malley finds himself in the right corner forward position, doesn't go out, hasn't gone out of play yet, and out comes Brian Linsky, and for the second time today he's kept the ball moving for Garrymore.
Yeah, it was a long period of both teams showing patience there. Garrymore sitting back, Castlebar just holding off, attacking them, but eventually forced Castlebar into the shot, and Linsky did well there.
Garrymore lose possession in the middle of the field, and they're Castlebar released the ball early, trying to find the runner towards Danny Kirby. Kirby wins the ball out, lays it off to Stenson to Durkin, and Castlebar again are forced into a mistake. Gary Golden applies the pressure to Aidan Walsh, and they've ball finds us all the way back to Shane Irwin. McDonough plays Paddy Durkin. Had a good year for Mayo this year. And again, Castlebar moving the ball well. Walsh around the corner, tries to find a run from Douglas, but cut out well, and Shane Nally went down to get the ball. He was hit by Shane Irwin, I think. Referee's going to have a word with Ireland, but again, the Garrymore defence are doing their job. Yeah,
holding tight and trying to keep this game as tight as they can. Garrymore probably need to try and get a few scores now, or a goal from somewhere, to force Castlebar to come out a bit more as well, but they'll be still happy enough, like if they can get another score or two now in the next few minutes, and go in the last 10 minutes just a few scores down.
1-8 Castlebar, 7 points Garrymore, coming up to 12 minutes gone in the second half here at Elverys MacHale Park in the semi-final. Don't forget we have the second semi-final live for you here as well. Claremorris and Ballintubber, which should be a good game, and Cunningham goes all the way up the field and he strikes that, but unfortunately goes to the left and wide. Short kick out this time, and Castlebar look to build from the back. Just an update from you from the senior relegation playoff. Ahamore 1-14, Davits 10 points. Davits will now play Ballinrobe in the final relegation playoff final. Hello to Sharon Deneen. Best of luck today at Garrymore. Tuned in on Mayo GAA TV. But inside is Neil Douglas. The ball is it was a shot, possibly going for the point, but comes off the crossbar. The ball goes all the way out to the far side to Danny Kirby. Gives it to Durkin. Two Garrymore players for company, and again that was a goal opportunity for Castlebar, and Shane Irwin decides to put his foot through the ball that time, but so close to a goal. Ball worked well for Castlebar and comes off the crossbar.
Yeah, so a really good ball in from Danny. Dougie definitely going for a point. Pull up the cross and off the crossbar.
And the Garrymore goal survives again.
Yeah, it's the other end we want to see a chance coming now.
Breaking ball there for Cunningham, given to, and they're trying to get it inside. He has a runner to his left, Cathal Slattery, if he can find him, and that's a great ball, and Slattery's in, and that's a goal for Garrymore. As we just said a moment ago, if Garrymore can get a goal at all, and Slattery's been making that run 3 or 4 times and they haven't found him, but that time the ball came through, offload from Brendan Cunningham, and coolly finished by Slattery.
Miles Fallon made great break through the centre, and Slattery's pace has been troubling Castlebar, and he showed it there. I just said it to Austin, if we could get Slattery on the break here somewhere, and surely he did, and what a finish.
Brendan Cunningham winning the ball in the middle of the field, and Fallon allowed to carry, wasn't challenged, and the switch of the play, Austin, was and it was very clinically taken.
Oh, absolutely, it was a wonderful finish, and as Danny was saying there, we just spoke of it, if Slattery could ghost inside, and he'd done that, and Cunningham found him with a beautiful ball, and he finished with just such composure. Fantastic score.
Game on now, as Austin O'Malley says here at MacHale Park. It's going to be a ding-dong battle now for the remaining half of this match. The Slattery goal made all the difference, and Gary Golden on the attack for Garrymore. He's making strides inside, and he hits that with his left boot, but unfortunately it just goes to the left and wide. We'll just have a quick look at the goal here. As we said, it was by Cunningham. Miles Fallon was allowed to carry the ball unchallenged, and that Slattery continued his run on the left hand side, and it was well found and coolly taken as Rory Byrne, the Castlebar Mitchels goalie, came out. So it's a 1-point game now, and that certainly brought the Garrymore crowd to life.
Yeah, look, that's probably what the game needed. So Castlebar now, a few of our bigger players have gone out of it, Barry Moore, and so they need to get back into it. Castlebar on the attack.
Castlebar on the attack now, and Aidan Walsh thought about the taking ball, finds it. Paddy Durkin. Danny Kirby is screaming for the ball inside. He was all alone on the edge of the large square, but great defensive work there by Miles Fallon, who helped create the goal. Is back helping his team defend, and there's only a 1-point game here in this first semi-final today of the Treanlaur Catering Senior Football Championship, and Garrymore have certainly given themselves a chance now, and the crowd have really come to life. O'Reilly, Irwin, Castlebar again to work it inside but turned over. Danny Kirby couldn't quite hold it. It was under a strong challenge. Keelan Crowe applying pressure on Douglas this time, and Castlebar worked the ball across the 45 again to Paddy Durkin. They have a man free in the right corner for they can find it, but Gary Golden cuts it out. It was a poor ball. Aidan Walsh was free, and Garrymore trying to work, as Danny says, trying to play counter-attack. Gary Golden draws the man, lays it off to Fallon, who plays a great ball inside, and that's won well, and he's trying to get turned inside, but Tierney's trying to finish it, and that's over the bar. A fantastic work by Gary Golden, slipped it inside, and a good finish. It's all tied.
Yeah, Golden usually in every game this year has been a huge first halves. Bit quiet in this first half. Massive 10 minutes there from him there. He's really starting to drive Garrymore on, and starting to find Tierney inside, and he'll cause trouble.
There's a pause in play as a Garrymore player is down injured in the middle of the field, and the Mayor Ishka's coming on with plenty of water for the footballers. It's going to be a rip roaring last 15-20 minutes, Kevin.
Yeah, it's going to be Castlebar. Haven't scored now for 6 minutes, so all the scores coming from Garrymore. I think I said a couple of minutes ago, we need some of the bigger players in Castlebar to stand up.
The physios come out and have a look and see what happened. We didn't see the injury, but Rory Byrne now having they wouldn't want to lose Trevor Nally. He's back on his feet. The referee blows his whistle and we're going to get the game back underway, and Rory Byrne goes long looking to find Barry Moore, who has Gary Golden for company, and that's broken into the hand. Oh, that's a high challenge from Barry Moore, and the referee has his hand up. There's 2 Garrymore players down. James King is down, and I don't know. The Garrymore physio are certainly busy today and having a bit of concern over 2 players here.
Yeah, well, Castlebar are putting the boot in now. Shane Irwin was lucky putting the boot in on Shane Nally. Barry Moran there came in with the fist. I'm very surprised he didn't get at least booked for that. And Neil Douglas as well was lucky earlier. So, yeah, Castlebar rattled. Garrymore getting stuck in now.
In a game of fine margins, small decisions can change a game, and either want to lose any kind of advantage by having a player black carded or booked or second yellowed.
Yeah, I don't think there was much in that. It was a poor kick out from Rory. He kicked to Barry. There was 2 Garrymore people on Barry, and the ball was obviously going to break, and Garrymore picked up the break, and I don't think there was any malice from what Barry did. He probably did. Maybe there was a bit of contact in the head area, but I don't think there was anything malicious. So maybe yellow card at worst, I'd say.
Referee John Glavy from Mahomore is making his way over to Barry Moran. So it's a yellow card for Barry Moran. Garrymore will have the free when we restart in front of the stand here at Elverys MacHale Park. The crowd still making its way in here. As we said, double header of games here for you. And the referee is asking the physio tonight. There's obviously maybe had to have a blood sub possibly, and it looks like they're calling a player to come in for him. That's a referee John Glavy calling for a blood sub, and it looks like it's Darren Quinn who's going to come on for Miles Fallon while he gets the attention he needs. So the game restarts, and the high ball sent in by Shane Nally in around the house, but that's just gone too far, and possibly trying to score from there was a bit ambitious.
Well, scores are at a premium now. There's only 9 scores each in this game, so I suppose it was a half chance. Oh, bad kick out.
Turned over, Colin Slattery's driving at the Castlebar defence. He gives it, there's a runner inside, he can't keep hold of the ball. Trevor Nally was coming at pace, and the ball is down, and Castlebar eventually get the ball and trying to drive out, but it fouled up Mark Tierney. So, and a goal opportunity for Garrymore. A poor kick out from Rory Byrne. That's a couple now that he's had, and you'd have to say that Castlebar seem to be the masters of their own downfall at the moment.
Yeah, he was looking for King Costello and he pulled across it. I thought Slattery should have put it over the bar. It was Garrymore would have been in the lead. The goal probably wasn't on. He should have put it over the bar. Castlebar got away with it.
Danny, it's Garrymore certainly taking the game to Castlebar at the moment, and Castlebar on the attack, trying to engineer their own score. Down goes King Costello, but he manages to offload the ball, and free is Donny Newcombe. Newcombe coming in at the angle, and he goes for the point, and that's over the bar. And you'd have to say that possibly it should have been a point at the other end.
Yeah, well, Colin Slattery, maybe he was right to just drive at goal. A goal would have really put Garrymore in a strong position. That's it. Maybe he could have tapped it over and got the point, but again, good point from Castlebar there. But again, Barrymore very lucky there with the fist on, and Miles Fallon pumping with blood there going off there, and referee, only booked him after he noticed that.
Ball won in midfield by Garrymore. They're looking to build again. Trevor Nally coming to the fore in the second half, gives it to Jimmy Killeen, trying to find inside to Mark Tierney, but he wasn't expecting the short ball. I think he was hoping for the ball over the top, and Castlebar turn it over and build again from the back. Ray O'Malley held up by his opposite number, Trevor Nally, and free quickly taken to Durkin. Walsh Comes into the centre of the field. Poor pass. Durkin couldn't keep the ball. Hassled by Cathal Slattery, and Garrymore thought they turned the ball over. The referee says there was a foul, and Austin O'Malley, certainly there's a buzz around the game now with those scores.
Oh, certainly, yeah. I suppose Garrymore should have probably taken their score at that time. They would have been, the right thing to do, probably just pop it over, and Castlebar came back and smelt blood and got one, and this pushed on again. But I mean, it's still in the melting pot there, whoever wants it,
Douglas gets around 3 Garrymore defenders, and he gets a shot off with his left foot, and that's a good score from Neil Douglas. Hadn't been as prominent as in some games as the Garrymore defence have marked him tightly there, but he managed to evade 2 tackles and a fine score.
That's a great score. Took his man on, getting the ball out in front of Jamie Oates. Yeah, look, Dougie hasn't been as sharp this year. He's away in America for a couple of months, probably only getting back into the last couple of weeks, but that was a fantastic score.
Linsky looking to go long, but won well by Irwin. Finds Patrick Durkin, who offloads it to Stenson. Castlebar again trying to switch the angle of the play, and but Danny Kirby has a free man. The far side is Ger McDonough. He gives it to Barry Moran in a shooting position with his left foot, hits both posts, it drops down. McDonough continued his run. He couldn't keep the ball in his hand, and there was a potential for a goal for Castlebar. There's Barry Moran's shot hit both posts, dropped in the large square, and the ball, McDonough couldn't quite grab the ball, and Garrymore are on the attack again, and they have Slattery again hugging the left touchline, but he's Caelan Crowe who's trying to offload, and that's a bad hand pass from him, and Barry Moore fully slaps up. Castlebar now sense they need to get another score to try and get this game put away. Only 2 points in it, and Castlebar are driving at the Garrymore defence now. Douglas to Stenson, and that's a great score from Castlebar. Since the goal, Castlebar have certainly come on top. 2 good points there for Castlebar. The Garrymore defence getting a little bit stretched now.
Yeah, they just lost their shape there. Keelan probably could have drove on himself. Yeah, just maybe should be taking our scores now. Still 10 minutes left. Keep in the game, but this just need to gather themselves again.
Linsky out to the midfield, and ball won by Shane Nally on his own break, and it's going to be a free in the middle of the field. Shane Nally with the ball. He's looking at his options and decides to go over the top towards Jimmy Killeen. He has Gary Golden, palms it off. A good touch from him. Gary Golden. He has Kieran Cunningham inside. The Castlebar defence pressure in the Gary Golden. The ball's turned over and they break it in numbers. They have runners left and right, and Patrick Durkin plays it inside to Douglas. And he has coming at speed is Owen Riley if he can find him. And O'Reilly gets the ball coming across to try and cut out the danger. 3 Garrymore players stop that attack from building with Trevor Nally. Pops up to Donny Newcomb. Newcomb tried to pull on it. Back there is Michael Keneally. The kick out was blocked by Danny Kirby, and almost a goal for Garrymore. You have to say again that Brian Lindsay's goal at the moment is leading a charmed life. And Garrymore on the break with Mark Tierney. Tierney to Darren Quinn, a blood sub for Miles Fallon, has a goal with his left foot, and that's a great score from Darren Quinn, but seems to have a hex on it.
Well, Linsky will tell you he's everything under control there, but they got the break there, got it down, got Darren Quinn, the ex-Jarlath's man, been playing well all year, just suffering from a hamstring, didn't start today, but great point.
Kick out, finds company, and Neil Douglas finds himself out in the wing, drifting from his full forward position. He has Ray O'Malley making a run inside him, but Jamie Oates, as he's been close to him all day, and that's going to be a free out for Garrymore from a turnover, and Jamie Oates has certainly had his hands full with Douglas, and he gets back up on his feet. Brian Linsky goes long towards Brendan Cunningham. Cunningham turns, trying to get Garrymore building again. It's a 2-point game as we approach 4 minutes to go in this game. Caelan Crowe trying to finds Patrick Hessian out to Cunningham. Castlebar have pulled 14 players back, and their numbers turn over the ball and they break again, but that's well intercepted by Gary Golden. Can't get the second ball, but there to help him is Kieran Cunningham and Garrymore on the building. They have a man spare on the left hand side if Cathal Slattery can find him. It's Darren Quinn, but goes back to Gary Golden. And as we said, Castlebar have numbers back defending and trying to frustrate Garrymore, and Garrymore working the ball out to the far side of the field. Just under 2 minutes to go, and it's a long range effort, but it's gone to the right and wide, and it's not what Garrymore need at this stage in the game, Danny.
Yeah, if you got to get back to 1 and get on with a few minutes left, we don't want to get it any further now, and you're chasing a goal then going into the last few minutes, hard to break down. We need to just work a score now soon.
Interesting change on the Castlebar team. Barry Moran coming off, and coming back in is Anthony O'Boyle. Danny Kirby will go back out to midfield.
I think that's what's going to happen. Danny's gone back out. Barry has put in a really good shift today. I really impressed with Barry today. The ball that came off the post, it was him then 2 minutes later came back and turned over the ball. He's done really well today. He played very well. Another bad kick out.
Rory Byrne's kick out has gone over the sideline. We're going to have 3 minutes of additional time, as you can hear from the announced. Garrymore have 3 minutes to get a goal or a couple of points to possibly take this to a replay. They're going to have a free 50 yards out. Shane Nally has the ball in his hand. He's looking possibly with the breeze at his back to try and have a go. He'll be confident in his ability to try and get the score here with the breeze at his back.
Yeah, he's had a few pots from this range already. Yeah, we need this one now with 3 minutes left.
Nally again outside of his left boot. That's a big score from Shane Nally. That makes it a 1 point game, and Garrymore are not being put away by Castlebar, and they've been 50-50 all the way in this game. It's been a hustle and bustle of championship football, and another kick out from Rory Byrne goes out over the sideline, giving possession straight back to Garrymore, which is going to give them a chance to work another score. Nally to Cunningham, finds Jamie Oates to Shane Nally. They have an option on the far side. They switch it out to Brendan Cunningham just outside the 45. Garrymore, and Garrymore know they need a score, at least one. That's a high challenge. The referee puts his hand up to say there's an advantage. It looks like it was Aidan Walsh foul on Neil Douglas. And Garrymore not hanging around. They know the clock is against them. They need to get a score. They're trying to switch the play into Jimmy Killeen, but Ray O'Malley's there to sweep up the danger, and that's going to be a free out for Castlebar, and that stops the Garrymore momentum. Durkin to Douglas. I think Douglas expected Paddy Durkin to keep his run going, but he'd put on the brakes, and possession is back to Garrymore, and they have 2 minutes to get the score that could change their season. And Jimmy Killeen, basketball style hop, left footed, off balance. Jimmy Killeen puts that just wide. It looked like it was going to go over, but a good bit of play from Jimmy Killeen.
Yeah, it looked like he was fouled. 3 men on him there as he got the ball away. Maybe could have been a free. They'll have to try and work something here from the kick out. Under pressure with the kick outs. He's under a lot of pressure, so hopefully we need this one.
Byrne going long again, trying to hit Danny Kirby. He has Gary Golden can't hit him. Danny Kirby takes a big mark for Castlebar. It's going to go long this time, and it's Douglas in the right corner forward position. His Stenson as support. They're going to come all the way out. Run the clock down, try and stifle the Garrymore attack. Durkin, Keelan Crowe for company. Garrymore need to get the ball, they need possession, they need to get a score, but Aidan Walsh is driving at them, offloads it to David Stenson, and Stenson with his left foot, it's not going out, it's going to stay in play. Garrymore slow to react. Neil Douglas lays it off for Cian Costello, who's going to have a go, but that's gone to the right and wide. It was the shot selection again there for Castlebar.
Yeah, Cian tried to hit it off the inside or outside the right. He should have scored that. Garrymore got a minute and a half to get an equaliser. Anything can happen, Tom.
Garrymore 1 point down in the Treanlaur Catering Senior Football Championship 2017 live from Elverys MacHale Park here on Mayo GAA TV.com. Garrymore on the attack. They have to get the ball into the attack. They need the score to level it up, to possibly win it, possibly take it to a replay, but there's a foul, so it's going to be a free for Garrymore. Gary Golden takes it quickly, pops it out to Trevor Nally to Golden. I'd say Gary Golden has had a very good game in the second half, but commentators curse. He throws stray hand pass there, and Castlebar get possession back again, and Castlebar have pulled everybody into their own half. They're going to try. We said this game in their tackling and the way they've approached this game. Castlebar messing around with the ball inside their own 45, and they've given away a free. That's a turnover that Castlebar should not have happened. So this is going to be a game to tie it up. There's no time left. This could potentially be the last kick of the game. This could take us to a replay.
Yeah, I suppose we've been waiting for the chance. Great tackling from Garrymore there. They boxed Castlebar in, put them under pressure. They spilt the ball, and Jimmy Kingwell down really well there on the ball to win the free. Jimmy now, hopefully he can do it for us.
Jimmy Killeen with a chance to draw the teams level, and Kevin, you have to say Castlebar again.
Yeah, they should have come over this side. They came over the stand side with it. That players over here, they didn't go on the front foot. You know, Jimmy Killeen's the man on this. I would have preferred, I'd say, if I was taken out of the hands. Big chance off the ground. Jimmy
Killeen left-footed. He hit Garrymore 111. 33. MacHale Park. John Glavey is the man who knows how much is left. We're going to a replay. The replay will be decided Wednesday night. So Garrymore, an absolute fantastic performance from being 6 points down at one stage.
Yeah, great performance, but we felt at half time to stick in it, that they had a good finish to them. They look at it at the game they lost. They had the chances at the end. Castlebar were rattled. I think it's a game we could have won. Yeah.
And you're proud of the players?
Super performance. The team, the management, they're a great bunch of players. They put in such an effort. They self-train themselves. Like they really put in. Kevin Welch over the team did a great job today organising. Tactics were brilliant. This Castlebar team were 7-1 Garrymore today, but they really nullified them, counteracted everything they had. Paddy Durkin didn't have a look in today.
Shot selection and turning over the ball in their own half.
Look, Castlebar they came out started really well in the second half. They'll be disappointed. King Costa had a chance to win it. David Sins had a chance down there as well. I think Castlebar probably should have been home and hosed with 10 minutes to go. They let Garrymore back into it with that goal. But yeah, no team probably wants this to be playing on a Wednesday night 4 or 5 days before a county final. That's just the way it is.
So it's finished here 111 to Garrymore, 111 to Castlebar, and we hand over to Liam Horn.
Thank you, Tom. Well, lots to talk about there. Austin O'Malley. Austin, as somebody who grew up on the heroics of Garrymore, watched that great team, the 70s.
Just see them, turn balls over, really win for it, and that's the spirit that we associate with Garrymore. When you look back through the years, the lineage and the history that's behind them, and that's bred into these guys, and once they smell blood there at the end, they really win for it, and it's a huge not a result, but certainly it'll put them in a great position going in probably Wednesday night now again. Massive heroics there from a lot of guys. Stand up, young Slattery, Jimmy Killeen, these guys, they were under the pump for long stages but held in there. So super, absolutely unbelievable and great, really enjoyable half of football to watch.
Mitchell's got rattled. I mean, Rory Byrne put 2 balls out over the sideline there, one after the other. Something you don't associate with Mitchell's at all, that lack of composure. But we've Jimmy Killeen and Danny Kirby here. Just 1 second. We're not putting Danny Kirby up on the high step anyway. I'll bring Jimmy up the high step and Danny here. Danny, go in here beside me. Yes. In here you go, Danny, for a second there. Thank you very much for joining us. And Jimmy, you come up here. I want to go to Jimmy first of all, because Jimmy, Danny McHugh shakes your hand. You stood over it. We're saying around here, I'd prefer if you took it from the hands. Not a bother, it's never in doubt.
Well, no, the hands weren't going too well in the first half. A couple of couple of wayward kicks. So I just said the conditions that were out there, the greasy surface, I just thought I'll put this on the ground and trust my instinct, trust my technique, and thankfully it went over, you know.
Yeah, it sailed over beautifully. There was no doubt once he kicked it, I'd say, was there?
No, I think, you know, I hit it well. I'll admit that, you know. And you know, that's the reason for it, you know, to be able to do it on a day when pressure's on and last kick of the game, you know, to draw a county semi-final and get another chance next during the week.
Yeah, Danny, you'll be at it again Wednesday night. That was close for comfort, it has to be said.
It was indeed, yeah, it was. I think we waited 3 months for a game and then 2 come in the space of 4 days, but that's the way it falls.
Maybe three.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. No, it's a good game now. Garrymore pulled up to us from the start. We knew that they would, and in fairness, the second half there, they really crawled back, and in fairness, they deserved to get the point there at the end.
Yeah, because it looked at half time like you had got going a little bit before half time, got a few scores, and in the second half as well, you looked comfortable at times, but they came back at you a few times, never laid down, and at the end I'm sure you were glad to get out of it.
Exactly, yeah, we're delighted to still be in the championship. Like we were a few points up at half time, but we knew the kind of quality of the players that Garrymore have, that they never die. That's the spirit that they have in their team. So we never thought we'd won it, and we're just happy to give it another go Wednesday night.
Wednesday night is the word, Jimmy. How does that suit you?
For old lads like myself, it's not great news, but we'll just have to prepare again, like we did prepare for today. You know, we'll go away now tonight and we'll analyse the performance, where we did well, where we did badly, and try and get ready for Wednesday night. You know, it's quick turnaround, as Danny said there. Quick turnaround. You wait all year for games. Next thing you have 2 and 3 or 4 days, like, you know. So we'll go away, we'll analyse the performance. I'm sure Kevin and the management team have a few stats to go through with us, and we'll go again Wednesday night, hopefully.
At this early remove, what did you feel you did well?
Like, the credit to this team all year is never say die, never give up, you know. Even when we got back to level, Castlebar, the champions that they are, kicked 3 points straight off the bat, 3 points up again, but lads kept plugging away. We had a couple of wides again, but kept plugging away, kept chipping away, you know, and thankfully we got the opportunity at the end to level it, and we took the chance, and we'll go again.
Regroup for Wednesday, Danny, that's the message, I suppose?
Exactly, yeah, there's nothing else you can do really. We'll obviously have a quick look back on this game, see what we can improve on, see what we can work on, but yeah, Wednesday's going to come around thick and fast, so it's looking to the future.
Okay, thanks very much, Danny.
Cheers, mate.
Danny Kirby, and to Jimmy as well. Actually, Jimmy, I'm going to bring you into a quick look at your equalising point. We'll let you go, Danny. Or you didn't get the equaliser, Danny, today. Maybe Wednesday night. We'll just get Jimmy into a quick look at the equaliser. To put it in perspective, this was the big one for Garrymore. This was the one that the Jimmy.
Yeah, look, it suited the left footer, you know, and there was a tiny breeze coming in from the MacHale road, so that did its bit as well, I think. So, look, we'll take it.
Look at Cathal Slattery's goal as well. Cahill's goal kind of brought you back into the game. Martini got a point afterwards as well. It was running away from you a little bit at that stage on the scoreboard. On the field, did you feel that you were still there? What was the feeling?
We never felt we were out of the game, you know. I know Castlebar got a goal at the start of the second half, but it was the same last week against Ballina in the quarter final. We knew, even when we were 1-5 to no score down, we knew just trust our own instinct, trust our own game plan, and stick to it. Don't just everyone go off doing their own thing and trying to affect the game in the wrong way, you know. So it was the exact same process again today, you know.
Okay, we're going to give you a quick look to Cahill's goal.
Oh yeah, it was tough. Like Gary made a lung burst and run through the middle. One of our main things all year, like, you know, creating space. Then Cahill made a beautiful run off the shoulder, and the finish is just inter-county class, to be honest. You know, he played minor this year. He's got a huge future ahead of him.
So look at it again. I didn't realise at the time how tight the angle was. Rory Byrne was right out now.
Ray Byrne was right out of him, exactly. But the only place he could have put it low, kept it on the ground, especially in these greasy surfaces. It'll skid in, and top class finish, you know. So
yeah, big run from Gary, as you said, made loads of ground and picked out Cahill beautifully inside.
Yeah. Just Cahill got the yard, and that's all he needed, and like, it's a beautiful finish. Yeah.
Jump over the keeper and away you go, wheeling away at your celebrations. Jimmy, thank you very much, and good luck Wednesday night.
Thanks a million, thank you.
Okay, that's Jimmy Killeen, Garrymore man, who was the man who pushed it to extra time there today, and or pushed it to replay today. And I'm going to join Danny and Kevin for a final word from them before we let them off. Danny, first of all, you lived to fight another day. You were hopeful all the way through, and they didn't disappoint you.
Well, I knew it's the way Kevin well sets up the team. He sets up the team to stay in a game, hold possession, and break. and they did that very well, and they stayed in the game. They knew they'd always have a chance near the end, and they've been finishing very strong in games, and today, and they'll probably look at it and say, you know, it was one that got away. They could have won that today, but again, Castlebar missed some chances too, so we have to take that into account.
Danny Kirby got a goal. We should have kept Danny for the review of that. We'll get you, Kevin, to talk it through.
Yeah, look straight from the throw in. I'll wait till it comes on. I nearly know on my head. The ball plays a great ball into Neil Douglas. Neil Douglas to Danny. Danny to Shane Irwin. Shane Irwin to James Durkin. Back to Danny. Bottom corner. Danny does this year in year out. He's very good at getting goals. Danny Kirby. He's always good for a couple of goals every year.
We'll show it again. It's textbook stuff, really, isn't it?
Yeah, look, that's probably a training ground move. You know, you saw when Barry played it. Dougie had made the move out, left the space in open behind him, and you see it again. Shane Irwin's execution was really good of the passes. James Durkin, little slip pass, sidestep, finish. It was a great finish. Great start for Castlebar. Put them 6 points up. You're thinking, right, it's game over here. But in all honesty, as Jimmy said, they stuck to the process. They didn't. No one panicked. You know, hats off to Garrymore. They came back into it.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Austin O'Malley for a second here. We just saw Danny Kirby's goal there. It was a really good goal. It was a really, really good goal in the way he took it and the way Mitchell set it up.
It was, yeah. It was actually initially it was a really, really good ball in from Barry Moore and a kind of a 40-yarder, you know, pop in across, and Danny got it, and it was a little bit of a melee. But when it felt him the second time, he really, really stuck it in the bottom corner there and gave the keeper Linsky absolutely no chance at all. So, you know, and it gave them impetus, and I thought they'd kick on from there. But Garrymore being Garrymore, they just kept themselves in the game, and you know, what a finish there at the end with Jimmy kicking that score. Fantastic, unbelievable. Yeah,
great drama. All right, it was a huge moment in the game. Mitchells, who had played some very good football, but fits and starts, Kevin, ultimately for a team of their quality to get a goal like that at the start of the second half. You know, you'd say they had a tough enough first 15 or 20 minutes, got a bit of a break going into half time, getting the few scores, get that start, say, okay, these boys are going to cruise on here now. But they weren't allowed to, and they didn't.
Yeah, well, that's credit to Garrymore. You know, a lot of credit goes to Garrymore in that, like the way Garrymore set up defensively. You know, there was passages there where Castlebar were holding the ball for 2 and 3 minutes, and they couldn't break them down. Castlebar probably at the end of it will be disappointed. We had the ball. There was 30 seconds to run down the clock, and one of the lads gave the ball away over in the corner, led to the free. So Castlebar probably will be disappointed. A minute before that, King Costa had an opportunity to finish the game off, didn't take it. 20 yards out, should have been game over.
Yeah, the reality, of course, Austin, is between here and Wednesday is that it's not about physical training now. It's about appraising what went wrong, what can we fix, and, you know, is there anything we didn't do well that we've done well previously that we can bring into the game again. So it's mental stuff now, isn't it? It's upstairs. This game is going to be won or lost.
Absolutely. It's about watching the video, picking out 1 or 2 things where you can maybe marginally improve, and then you know, the other side of it is to get the body right, the recovery right for the next, you know, 36 hours or so on. But again, just to fine tune a few little bits and pieces. Who maybe I would potentially say Garrymore maybe have a little bit more to learn. They're probably coming in not knowing, really testing the water in terms of where Castlebar are. They're right up there at it. I think they've got to come back to this now probably and believe a little bit more. Castlebar probably will go back. They'll be slightly disappointed that they probably didn't get across the line, but they need to have a look at themselves in terms of they looked a little bit heavy and leggy there, and maybe the couple of the years are catching up with them a little bit. But it'll be a fascinating encounter again. You know, there'll be very, very little in it.
Okay, Danny, I saw Garrymore J Club treating good luck to Claremorris yesterday. If you're a Claremorris player in the dressing room for the last half an hour getting ready for your game, and the word is coming through that Garrymore are doing to Mitchells what they were doing, gives you a lift, doesn't it? Because there has been a feeling it's going to be an all-West final. It's going to be Ballintubber versus Mitchells. Gives Claremorris a good lift.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'd love to do that.
Yeah, the bookies were given on a €20 bet about €800 this morning.
You get a bit of that then?
No, I don't gamble. But
seeing in the paper winning poker competitions worldwide, for God's sake.
That's not gambling, that's strategy. But anyways, no, I've talked to a few of the Claremorris players this week. They fear nobody. They're young. They're great footballers. They've won a lot of underage competitions. They're free rolling here. They're going into this game, and I think they're going to play great football, and I think they're going to have every chance of upsetting Ballintubber. And they've nothing to lose. Garrymore really wanted to get to a final, had to get to a final. That's what they've been pushing for, and that's probably what drove them on at the end there. Claremorris have nothing to lose, and there's some great forwards. They'll have hopefully Gill will be starting today for them, and Diskin and Shaughnessy. Quality forwards.
Absolutely. One thing that must be said, Kevin, is regardless what happens in the replay Wednesday night, these extra games are having an impact on the championship now, because Ballintubber go into their third game in 7 days. Mitchells or Garrymore will face the same next weekend. It's going to have an impact somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. You said it at the start that, what happens if it's a draw, and I firmly didn't believe it was going to be a draw. I thought Castlebar would have won it by 3 or 4 points. It is going to be interesting to see what Ballintubber are like today. They had 2 tough games against Hollymount. That pitch isn't by no means, it looks a little bit soft underfoot. It would be interesting to see how Ballintubber are today, because I think if Ballintubber win today, they probably will be favourites going into the final. 4 or 5 days before county final for Garrymore, Castlebar. I'm really interested how Ballintubber get on today.
Okay, what about one lads with 2 draws? How many thinking about that? We'll be here all week. Okay. We'll have to up the price. It's a buyer's market. It's a seller's market here.
Ask Danny the odds on that. What was the odds on that one?
The 2 draws.
About 1 million to 1. Well, you never know here. The odds on this probably today draw, probably 8-9 to 1. Yeah, I wouldn't. Will you give me 9 to 1 on it?
We're going to draw a line under Garrymore and Mitchells for now. We'll be here Wednesday night again, of course. We'll let Danny and Kevin go. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining us. We hope to see you here in similar positions on Wednesday night. Thank you. That's Kevin, and we get a final shot of Kevin and Danny leaving us here, shaking the hands and all of that. They're making their way. And we're going to bring in John Brennan and Jackie Heenahan from Claremorris, and we're going to turn our attention to that game now. And we're going to start again with Austin on this game. Austin, sometimes we have to catch our breath, and this is the time, isn't it? To kind of say, right, there's something. There's another game coming here now. A moment of reflection, perhaps.
A moment of reflection, yeah.
You do meditation, I'm sure you do.
I think we might need it after this, But I know that we were treated to a right good finish there. It came to the boil, and just was super there at the end, And I actually really looking forward to this next one now, because I really want to see. I would probably know a good bit about Ballintubber, but Claremorris a little bit unknown in terms of coming in. They did a very, very good result, I suppose, in their last game, blowing Brafey out of it. But really, really excited to see some of their young players, because they're just some of these guys that come to the boil, and you'll be wondering, can they kick on and add something to the whole sort of spectrum of Mayo football.
As Garrymore have just proven, John Brennan, there are no rules here. You can come in and do what Garrymore did.
Oh yeah, 100%, Liam. Like the same thing here last Saturday night against Brafey. No one gave us a chance.
You're live on air there, Jackie.
And no one gave them a chance last Saturday night against Brafey. Likewise today, Garrymore against Castlebar Mitchels. They didn't have a chance. 5-1 with the bookies. Castlebar just had to show up today, and a lot of the local papers during the week had scripted a West Mayo final next Saturday night. So
you'll have to boycott them, John.
I know. I don't know about that, Liam. But anyway, I think everyone wants the West Mayo final, Ballintubber Castlebar, like the real big showpiece.
I'm not so sure about that, John. Because first of all, Mitchell's Ballintubber finals, it's fair to say, Jackie, have not been epics.
I think poor Micheál Branagh from Tina G did awful. Micheál O'Donnell to make a decent game out of the first one. We won in 2010. But did we care? No, we didn't care. It was our first. So
I think people like a novel team in a final. I think it'd be great interest in Garrymore or Claremorris, or both of them getting there. So John, you can keep your underdog stuff to a certain level, John. Now, but isn't that fair enough to say, Austin?
I think so.
For a small club as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the underdog. I'm all for the underdog, but he's selling it well there. He's selling it very well.
Well primed last night for everyone.
We did, yeah.
Jackie,
how would an all South Mayo county final go down?
Great day in Ballinrobe, wouldn't it?
You could play in Ballintubber, I'd say.
Okay, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Claremorris are out in the field for a long while. Jackie, Conor Finnerty out, I take it.
Yeah, Conor is gone, I'm afraid, and a huge loss to us, because as I say, anybody even here as neutrals said, where has this guy been? Because we know that he has ferocious talent, just to get it out of him, because a lot of injuries over the years. This is his third time doing the collarbone, so we don't know how long he's going to be out, but sad to say we're going to be without him today anyway, and a huge loss to us.
Okay, a huge loss. The Ballintubber team is up on the screen. Have you any word of late changes, Jackie?
Yeah, Steve.
Obviously, Finnerty can't play. He's listed there.
Yeah, Stephen O'Malley is coming in. That's the major.
Conor Finnerty.
Yeah, Stephen O'Malley is coming in. Coming in for. Well, you could say he coming in for Ray Garrity. Okay. Ray Garrity's off. Jimmer O'Connor is also in. Now, Jimmer's playing the last night. He's not on that programme there. So Jimmer's already in. So Stephen O'Malley coming in for Ray Garrity.
Cathal Hanlon fullback.
Cathal Hanlon fullback.
Okay, and they're captained, of course, by Danny Garrity. That's the Ballintubber team with those changes that Jackie has just flagged to us. And now we're going to look at the Claremorris team. John, first of all, that's the team in the programme. but the question is, what's the team in reality?
Well, I've heard a rumour in the last couple of hours that Ger Commons is in for Stephen McGrail at corner forward.
He's been injured, I think, Ger Commons.
Ger Commons had knee injuries and shoulder injuries over the last number of while, so a real versatile player as well. He'll run all day. There's rumours that he's in for Stephen McGrail, but that's not concrete.
No talk of Colin Gill starting, is there?
No talk. Same the likes of Mikey Higgins as well, Colin Gill, Matthew Mack, and the lads that came off the bench the last day. They're going to be held in reserve.
Okay, well that's the Claremorris teams. The Alvin MacHale there made some big saves on Wednesday night in the replay. Last weekend. We're losing track of time. Last Saturday night in the drawing game, in the first time victory against Brafey, and they have captain, of course, Aidan Butler at full back and James McCormack at centre back. A lot of talk about him. He showed some good signs the last night.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about him this week, that he nullified the threat of Aidan O'Shea to a certain extent. A great versatile player. Once he gets on the ball and he gets a 5 or 6 yard burst on you, the likes of James McCormack's pure power, raw pace.
So Ballintubber, of course, they're past masters at this level. They have been at the knockout stage of Mayo Club football for quite a while, and have been previous champions, of course, as Jackie said, and they will be very keen to take out this Claremorris challenge. When you met a few weeks ago in Ballinrobe in the final game of the group, Ballintubber were better that day.
On that particular, we won by 5 points that particular night. It took us a while again to get on top of them, but this is the third time we've met Claremorris in the last couple of weeks. We've also met them in the County Cup over in Bacon. We bet them that night by 2 points, and very lucky to beat them that night. So there's nothing between us, Liam, and they're an up-and-coming team, and depending on how we recover after the last night, the legs are bound to be tired. This is our third game now in 8 days, so sometimes it's good, as we said the last night. If you weren't at playing, you'd be training. It's nicer playing.
Yes, Austin, you're a man with qualifications, strength and conditioning and that kind of thing, and of course still playing well into your 30s. Yes. What about that whole factor of the game, the weekend, the game Wednesday night? What do you feel?
Yeah, it is a factor, but as Jackie said there, sometimes you can get a bounce in terms of that it brings you up to speed, really, really quick, and you've been at championship pace and you've had 2 games. If it's managed, it's you can do it, but the recovery in terms of lads are working the next day. Do you get your pool sessions in? Are you recovering? Are you getting your 8 to 10 hours sleep? And all those little bits, those 1%ers that you need to be stacked up and racked up on you in order for you to go again the next day. So it is, and it's not just the Wednesday night; it's the game prior to that as well, the following Sunday. So you have 2. So you're back to back. And we mentioned before in terms of getting your energy levels up, glycogen levels, and refueling, like for the body to be at where it needs to be. So it'll be, I'd say Ballintubber might be a little bit leggy to start, but it could, they could come through, open up and come through in the wash later.
The point, Tom Prendergast made a point as well during the week, Tom, about players travelling. John, players travelling, getting home for Wednesday night, back Wednesday night to be up for work or college Thursday morning. It's another factor as well in the whole recovery thing that Austin talks about.
Yeah, like for an amateur player, like to come to prep for that replay on Wednesday night, back early, you need to have the proper, I suppose, recovery period for that game as well, and then you're straight into it's for a lot of the lads, college life, working life, and they're back again maybe Friday evening or Saturday morning, maybe getting a pool session in before the game this weekend. It's difficult for the players to have, like as Jackie mentioned there, 3 games in 8 days. That's serious going for any team, and even if it was Claremorris, I know the Claremorris are a young team, a lot of young lads, that would be a serious challenge for them as well. So for Ballintubber, a lot of mileage on the clock, numbers county titles over the last 5 or 6 years. It's going to be interesting to see how they recover from that, or how they maybe bounce on from that.
Yeah, it is one of the factors that will be considered very heavily as we look at this Treanlaur Catering Mayo Senior Football Championship semi-final. We've just had a thrilling finish to Garrymore versus Castlebar in the first semi-final. Austin predicted a classic beforehand. It wasn't quite a classic, but it was a classic finish, Austin, and we'll take that. Maybe that's all that matters in a classic, is what you remember at the end, and that has whetted the appetite for Wednesday night, and has also energised the crowd here as well. I think there's been a great lift in the crowd and a real sense of game on, championship on now, and Ballintubber will be wondering what Claremorris are going to do. They're new at this level. What are they going to do? Tom Kearney, John Brennan and Jackie Heenan are going to call the action. Tom.
Thank you, Liam. And welcome to the second of the semi-finals, as Liam says, live on MayoGAA.tv.com as the substitutes make their way to their position in the dugouts. We'll pause for Aaron Navian prior to the game. Just the one change on the Claremorris team. Ger Cummins coming in for Stephen McGrail. And on the Ballintubber team, 2 changes. Diarmuid O'Connor is named at right corner forward, but he won't stay there, we believe. And Stephen O'Malley in for Ray Garrity. Referee is Vincent Neary from Bunnyconlon. And the Ballintubber team break from their huddle. And we're just waiting, as we say, for the players to get in their position. And it's turned into a cool afternoon. There's a strong, but the breeze has picked up since the first game. It could be a telling factor for the team. So it looks like Claremorris are going to play with the breeze in the first half. But and we're ready for the off here at MacHale Park. Pádraig O'Connor will be wearing his, at this stage, traditional number 30 jersey, as there seems to be a lack of number 10s jerseys in Ballintubber. Referee Vincent Neary getting us ready, and we're underway. First free to Claremorris. Bit of a high challenge there on David Egan. So ball in hand of Ronan Finn. Hits it long into the corner. Looking to go on the attack straight away. Good ball into Conor Diskin. Diskin over the top in towards Ger Cummins. Out came the goalie, and bit of a collision, but he's up on his feet and he's okay. Well, Brendan Walsh read the danger very, very quickly. And Ballintubber, third game in 8 days. It'll be tough on the bodies, but they've been here before. They know what is needed. Jason Gibbons trying to release O'Connor, but cut out well. And Ronan Finn pies it inside Claremorris. Just both teams trying to find their way into the game in these opening stages. Ryan Quirk lays it off to Stephen Brennan, who offloads it to David O'Reilly. He's going to have a go from that angle. Swings his right boot at it. And James McCormick, who swings it over the bar. And a great score from the centre-back, James McCormick. First score to Claremorris.
Oh yeah, as I mentioned last weekend against Brafey, just for the confidence levels in the players, that they need to get a score on the board for the first couple of minutes. James McCormick got his hands on that there. Stephen Brennan involved, James Shaughnessy. For them to get that score, so important.
Free kick for Jason Gibbons. Goes across the pitch to Brian Murphy. Pops up to Diarmuid O'Connor. Quick ball inside for O'Connor. One well out in front, and it draws the free. Stephen O'Malley. Quickly taken by Dylan, but the Claremorris player was too close, so Vincent Neary will bring it up into a scoreable. Makes it slightly more scoreable now for Killian O'Connor, who is kicking into a fairly stiff breeze, but should be within his range, Jackie. Yeah. Oh, he's gone short. He switched it short into Brian. They're trying to work another score, and that's a great score from Alan Plunkett. And Killian O'Connor surprised everybody. Usually goes for goal himself. Took it very quickly and well worked.
Yeah, I think like everybody, if you switch off for a split second against a lot of those guys, they will catch you out.
1 point each after 2 minutes here in the second semi-final of the Treanlaur Catering Senior Championship semi-final. Claremorris pressing well, but that's deemed to be a foul by Ryan Quirk, so it's going to be a free out for Ballintubber. And again, the player not being allowed to take his free quickly, and he's brought up the 10 yards. Alan Dillon, who's so prominent in the replayed game against Hollymount Garrymore on Wednesday evening. O'Connor puts it down the line. It's a good ball to Michael Plunkett. Switches the angle of play to Cillian O'Connor. Closely marked by Aidan Butler, the captain. Cillian O'Connor switches it into his brother, into Diarmuid O'Connor, and that's a goal for Ballintubber. The O'Connor brothers linking up very well, and it was an excellent pass by Cillian O'Connor. Diarmuid didn't have to break stride, plucked the ball. Goal for Ballintubber.
Marvellous, but again it shows you the vision of the guys, that it's maybe been brothers, has a little bit of telepathic amongst themselves. Very good.
An early goal for Ballintubber, something Claremorris wouldn't have hoped for, but they'll look to bounce back as quick as they can.
Yeah, that's a real killer blow there now in the opening 3 minutes. Great link-up play with Cillian and Diarmuid, and obviously finished well past Alvin MacHale, but at such an early stage of the game to concede a goal like that, it's very disappointing.
Ball goes out, it's free, says the referee. It's touched on the ground, so it's going to be a free for Claremorris in the left corner back position. MacHale. It's a long ball up towards Jason Takos. Lays it off to Ger Cummins. Cummins is fouled. Claremorris, who've last won the county title in 1971, would be hopeful to get as far as. Going to have a bit of work to do here. He's on his own, but Diskin is riding two challenges. Pops it off for the cornerback, Stephen Brennan. Can't pull the trigger. The goalie was out. Brendan Walsh was out quickly, so the referee's going to say it's a free out. And you'd have to say there, your brother almost equalised.
Yeah, he nearly got in for a goal there. I suppose a great response, but they're the kind of chances that you have to finish in a game like this. A young side like Claremorris, underdogs coming into the game, they're the opportunities that we have to put away.
Austin O'Malley, very cagey in the opening with that goal from Ballintubber. Well worked.
Oh yeah, really well worked. Cillian, reverse past the top of the D, won it, just faded out, then with his left just spotted the Diarmuid on the inside, and he just finished with a pluming in bottom. It was brilliant, absolutely fantastic finish.
Diarmuid O'Connor, the aforementioned Diarmuid O'Connor, who just scored a goal. He has runners ahead of him. He has Damien Coleman, and he has Pádraig O'Connor free, and the ball finds its way to Coleman, to Cillian O'Connor. Cillian left footed over the bar. Another score for Ballintubber. So Ballintubber injecting the place and playing almost a counter-attack style football. And Claremorris will want to get a score as quickly as possible. They won't want to let Ballintubber build up too much of a head of steam. Kick out from MacHale. Goes long, broken up. Bouncing ball, one that Michael Plunkett dove on the ball and drew a free. Quickly taken, Alan Dillon. Cuts inside, Takos. Dillon trying to link up with Pádraig O'Connor, who was trying to lay it off for Alan Plunkett, but the ball broken up by Claremorris, and they can back. Cummins plays it out the wing to David Egan. Egan quickly inside again to Diskin. He seems to be the go-to man at the moment for Claremorris. Trying to switch the play there, but well read by Pádraig O'Connor for Ballintubber. And they can now get on the attack. Alan Dillon makes a run. Jason Gibbons decides to go short to Pádraig O'Connor. Ball played round the side and well marshalled out, and it's going to be a sideline ball to Claremorris, deemed to have come off Stephen O'Malley. Well won by Ger Cummins, who's seen plenty of the ball in the opening 6 minutes of this game, and again played quickly inside towards Diskin. All willing to come out, win the ball, bring other players in. Sean Diskin. Claremorris trying to probe, trying to find an angle, trying to get a score that'll close the gap. 1 point to 1-2. Diskin gets inside. Brian Murphy tries to make room for the shot, but slightly off balance, and he puts that one wide to the left. But they're creating the chances. They're looking. The early ball it seems to be the tactic. Straight ball into Diskin. He wins it out in front, and he's looking for runners then coming off him.
They're getting an awful lot of possession between the 45 and 31 yard line, and as you mentioned there, Conor Diskin, the focal point of their attack, a lot of the ball going through him at full forward, but we're not being clinical enough in terms of the scoring rate from that possession.
Foul on Cillian O'Connor. The referee let the advantage go, but there's a player down in the back. It looks to be Cathal Hanlon, who has been struggling for injury this year. It didn't start the game the last couple of games. It looked like his knee injury has reoccurred.
Hamstrings is what he's been complaining of this last while. Hamstring and calves, but then his back also, so he's a tall man, so the back has given a lot of trouble, so he's gone.
Ballintubber take the free quickly. Pádraig O'Connor gives it to Stephen O'Malley, takes his shot, and that's just gone to the left and wide. And it looks like they're bringing in David Clark.
David Clark is pretty new to the scene, but he's played with Mayo Minors 2 years ago, so he's pretty decent.
So unfortunate for Cathal Hanlon, whose semi-finalist cut short due to his injury. So an opportunity for David Clark. MacHale hits it long, broken. Can't win the breaking ball at the moment. Ballintubber and Claremorris build again and again. That long ball into Diskin. Brian Murphy this time will just shepherd that one over the sideline. But it's very noticeable, Austin O'Malley, that Claremorris, as mentioned there to John, is that it looks to be bringing Diskin in as quickly as possible to deliver that ball quickly inside.
Yeah, looking to try and get him in there, but Ballintubber, they're manning up and they're closing off the spaces there. And even though Claremorris are trying to play a nice, expansive brand of football in terms of putting it to boot and early on, but they just need to be a little bit more accurate in terms of what they're getting in there, so the guys can hold on to it.
Well won by Jason Gibbons from the kick out, and attacking is Michael Plunkett, who's driving it from centre back. He is still no challenge, and he's allowed to go forward, and Stephen O'Malley gets the ball, and that's another point for Ballintubber. It's slightly too easy there for Ballintubber to get through. Plunkett drove from his own 45 up to the 30 yards from goal, and Claremorris can't give him that kind of space and time.
Oh yeah, he was like the ocean was opening up for him there. He just drove into the space, and no Claremorris player came across him to even just maybe push him across, but that's disappointing for Claremorris, because defensively in the first 10-12 minutes against Brafey they were so compact. A little bit more open today, kind of worrying, and Cillian is obviously now in possession, and he's going to
Cillian O'Connor puts it into Stephen O'Malley, who's in for the second goal, and that's 2 goals now for Ballintubber, 2-3 to 1 point, and it's just coming up to 10 minutes gone, and great upper work by Cillian O'Connor. Delivered the ball inside and well finished.
Great ball to Stephen O'Malley. That'll do Stephen good, because Stephen was on the team early on the year, but he lost his place due lack of confidence. So he's already started goal in the point in the first few moments, so this will do him good.
Kick out won by Ballintubber. O'Connor delivers it quickly to first touch for David Clark. Alan Dillon holds the ball up well. Jason Gibbons. Plunkett now. Ballintubber again probing, looking to make an angle, make a run, and Clark has driven forward, and he's still in a position where he's trying to switch it back to O'Connor, but it was well read by the defender. Claremorris survived that attack and then give a bad pass from the resulting free kick and give possession straight back to Ballintubber. Michael Plunkett gets the ball off to Jason Gibbons. Gibbons gets the ball out of the danger area, and it's Damien Coleman to Danny Garrity, the captain for Ballintubber, to Cillian O'Connor. Jason Gibbons. Cillian making a run across again, looking to get the ball back off Clark, and gets his head up straight away, gets the ball into Alan Dillon. Alan Dillon gets it to Cillian, and he's looking for the early ball inside again, and O'Malley is out in front, and that's the second ball he's got, and in the blink of an eye Stephen O'Malley has got a goal and 2 points, and he's certainly not lacking the confidence today, Jackie.
No, it's great to see for the young lad, because his head was down this last couple of weeks. He thought his place was gone for the season, but it shows you how fickle sport is.
And we can see great work from Cillian O'Connor initially. The play was building up, and they just injected the bit of pace, offloaded. He was all on his own on the edge of the large square and slid it past MacHale. Claremorris get the kick out, and it's Ronan Finn. Claremorris have only 1 point on the board at the moment, and Diskin is trying to work his way inside, but he's been well marshalled by Brian Murphy. The two of them have been in close company for the opening 12 minutes of this game, and you have to say the atmosphere has gone a bit flat with those 2 goals for Ballintubber.
Yeah, we need a score now on the board. James Shaughnessy lining up is free now just to give us something on the scoreboard, because as you said there, Ballintubber, that's what they probably would have wanted in the opening 10-12 minutes of this game, to blow us out of the water, especially after the replay during the week, and he's just after nailing that wide. So that's frustrating for Claremorris.
Austin, two 2 goals and 4 points, plays 1 point, and Ballintubber are very clinical.
Yeah, they're really, really clinical. They've set their stall out early on. You know, they're moving the ball really well. Killian O'Connor coming out deep, just quarterbacking it, kind of moving it, moving. You know, and he's kicking it off his left, and he's defence splitting passes, and he's opened Claremorris up there a number of times, and they've got dividend each time.
Ballintubber on the attack again, finds Killian O'Connor, pops it back to Jason Gibbons, to Alan Dillon, and Ballintubber moving the Claremorris defence round. Killian O'Connor on his right foot, slightly off balance, and that one's gone to the right and wide. But a better defending from Claremorris, trying to restrict them from getting inside them. They seem to have pulled back a man to try and cut off the space in the front of their defence.
Yeah, but like the thing about with the Ballintubber forward line, you've seen there with Killian and Alan Dillon, they're kind of pulling the Claremorris players until that opportunity opens up for them. They're kind of drawing the Claremorris defence out, and then the likes of Dillon is putting a dink ball inside on top of Stephen O'Malley. The Claremorris defensive cover is gone at that stage. James Shockey, these wides are killing us.
That's the second wide for James Shockey in the space of 2 minutes, and the game seems to have settled into a pattern of Ballintubber can attack when they just choose to. They have that extra gear to go up. Chipped out by Walsh over to Coleman. Drives it up the line towards Alan Dillon. Gathers the ball in well, and he has runners, and he lays that off to Gary Loftus, and Loftus breaks the 45, and he's still going. He's not being tackled or challenged. He gets it to Killian O'Connor. Killian trying to offload it to Jason Gibbons, well tackled by Aidan Butler, but Killian O'Connor dinking that ball over the top as that was talked about, and it's broken inside to Gary Loftus, who's stayed up there, the corner back, and he can't offload the ball, but he draws the foul, and it's going to be you'd have to say that the way that the Ballintubber team, as we said, are moving that defence around, they're just causing problems, and Claremorris are just not dealing with the movement.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking really now. I thought Ballintubber after the replay and Wednesday night, obviously the first 10-12 minutes they might have been a little bit leggy in the opening stages of the game, but anything but that. They've really just gone for the jugular in the opening 12 minutes, trying to kill off the Claremorris challenge. Maybe they think this is a young Claremorris team. Ballintubber go 8 or 9 points up, then they mightn't have anything to come back from. Another free from Killian.
2-5 to 1 point to Nottingham O'Malley. You have to be impressed with the conditioning of the Ballintubber players. But bearing in mind this is their third game in 8 days.
Yeah, they've recovered really well, and they've, as I said before, they've gone about their business really smartly. They've used the ball really well. They've taken their scores, and they're just, as we said there previously, they're pulling the Claremorris defence all around the place. Killian slipping out, Alan Dillon slipping back in, Dermot O'Connor ghosting into that space behind them. So they have all the aces there at the moment, you know.
Claremorris trying to build a bit of their own momentum and kicked away the ball, looking to find Sean Diskin that time. And Ballintubber build again from the back with Jason Gibbons, who's seen a fair amount of ball. He slipped there, and I don't think it was an intentional high tackle. Ryan Quirk, Jason Gibbons kind of slipped, and he went to tackle him, but I don't think there was nothing intentional about that.
Nothing intentional at all. No, Jason had actually slid into Ryan, so nothing in that at all.
Ballintubber 2-5, Claremorris 1 point.
Maybe as also the county secretary, maybe the ref was trying to keep him on the right side.
we could be Alan Dillon blocked down by Nicky Pilbrough, but the linesman had his flag up, but he's put it down again, so Claremorris can start moving the ball forward. And it's Ryan Quirk switching the play across the field towards Sean Diskin. Diskin being accompanied by Miles Kelly. He tries to take a shot from an angle, but he switched the play inside towards Conor Diskin. The ball dropped in the square, but his hands up as the umpire. It's going to be a 45. I think it was just I don't think he was trying to take a shot. I think he was just trying to play a ball inside, from maybe hoping somebody get a fist on it.
That's it, yeah. He tried to put an up and under into the square there just to see could they get anything off it, but it's kind of frustrating if you were the Claremorris management team at the minute. First 10 minutes, you're in the dressing room before the game, and you have all these plans, and you want to start so positive and make sure that you're in the game, but it's so frustrating for them now, and we just need a couple of scores, 2-5 to 1. I know Ballintubber are really dominant the opening 10 minutes, but like they're not knifing through us right through the middle. So Claremorris just need to get their act together now.
James McCormick's 45 is stopped onto the bar by Jason Gibbons. Dermot O'Connor to Loftus. Alan Dillon making the run out to the wing and being closely shadowed by Nicky Pilbrow, Alan Dillon has given up several years between himself and Nicky, but that time the sideline ball is Claremorris's, and they get the ball moving. They're trying to angle the ball into the corner position. Couldn't get it cut out by Diarmuid O'Connor, and again Claremorris trying to work the angle to get it out to Sean Diskin. Shot blocked down by Jason Gibbons. Breaks to Loftus, to Diarmuid O'Connor. Ballintubber have pulled 12 players back inside their own 45. They've just 3 players in the opposition half, and one of those players trying to make the run there was Pádraig O'Connor, but the pass was blocked down, and Drake Clark now. Alan Dillon. It's time to get the pass right, and he does, and he gives it to Brian Murphy, and Murphy is breaking inside, and he's keep going, and he has 3 men inside. He tries to find Cillian O'Connor, but it was cut out by Aidan Butler, and you felt that if Brian Murphy could have kept hold of that ball for another second, draw the man, then slip the pass, he trying to offload the ball far too early.
Yeah, but a very poor execution of a hand pass. He just completely mishit it altogether. That's what happened in that situation.
Claremorris take the shot free, and David Egan is working back in his own full back line to try and get Claremorris back into this game. Ryan Quirk, low ball out in front, trying to get something going for Claremorris, but James Shaughnessy that time couldn't get the ball in hand, and Gary Loftus comes away with it, and he's continued his run. He's there as a support player for Diarmuid O'Connor, and he's not been tracked. And Diarmuid O'Connor now coming at pace. He has his brother inside him, but he goes outside that time back to Stephen O'Malley, who's been on fire in this game, and that's 1-3 that Stephen O'Malley has scored in this game. And Jackie, you'd have to say on this form he's well worth his selection.
Yeah, he's been actually marvellous, but the one thing with Stephen is don't be looking for a return. 1-2 is not, it's 1-1, that's it. No return pass. So you see he's shooting on sight.
Shooting on sight to great effect, and the management team are going to have to do something about Stephen O'Malley. He's getting 1-3, and it looks like they're going to make a change.
Yeah, I think they're going to bring on Colin Gill off the bench. He scored the winning point the last day against Brafey, and he's going to offer that injection running through the middle. It's just that's the kind of stuff there, so frustrating for Claremorris. They have possession of the ball, being turned over too quickly in the middle of the field.
The substitution is going to be made. It looks like they're going to withdraw Ger Cummins, and they're going to bring on Colin Gill. Disappointed, Ger Cummins coming off. Obviously a tactical decision being made by the management team, but Jason Gibbons gets the game restarted. Cillian O'Connor cuts inside Ronan Finn, and Cillian's in on goal. He offloads it to O'Malley again, and that's another goal. That is too easy. Claremorris not at the races. They're just switched off, allowed that ball to develop, and Stephen O'Malley gets his second goal of the game. And you'd have to say from 3-6 to 1 point, it looks like it's going to be a bit of a mountain to climb for Claremorris, John.
Yeah, it's so frustrating for them, because I know they've done an awful lot of work to get themselves right for this game today, and to concede those 3 goals in the space of the opening 21 minutes in the game, it's extremely frustrating for them, because they're much better than that, and but to concede those 3, it's going to be very hard to come back from that.
Ballintubber turn over the ball. Plunkett hits inside to O'Malley, and again on his right foot, and he puts that over the bar again. And Austin O'Malley, you have to say that the way that Stephen O'Malley is playing, Ballintubber have put Claremorris to the sword in the opening 21 minutes of this game.
Yeah, they really have, and it's just the approach play of Ballintubber up front. Like they're so unselfish. They're making all the correct runs. The ball has been given to the right person at the right time, and O'Malley has got the dividend of the ingenuity from the Alan Dillon and the O'Connors that are just shifting things around and creating that space for him. But he's been excellent. He's finished there 2-3 with about 20 on the clock, so he'd be very happy with that so far.
The way that Claremorris have approached this game, you surprised that tactically they didn't make a change sooner off Stephen O'Malley having Scott. He was there to see at the start.
Yeah, he was, but I think they're taking in water in a lot of sectors, so I'd say there's a lot of things going on down there in terms of the management. So even though Stephen is at the end of a lot of those, the problems are probably developing further out the field, so that's where it's.
Claremorris trying to get in behind the Ballintubber defence, and it's the centre back James McCormick with a good score for Claremorris, a well worked score. The second, it's a well worked score for Claremorris, and they need more of that, more direct running rather than trying to the tactic of Conor Diskin clearly wasn't working, so they've been told to run the ball.
Yeah, so that score kind of just gets us on the board now because, as you mentioned there, that's the thing that Claremorris have been so effective in their championship matches this season. Once a couple of passes off the shoulder and running right through the middle of the defences, because they have pace and have got power, but it's going to be very hard to get back into the game. The concession of those 3 goals are a killer.
Great mark taken by Danny Geraghty, the captain for Ballintubber, and Pádraig O'Connor slips in. Cillian O'Connor offloads it to Alan Dillon, and that's a great score. And we can see here the second goal just taking place. Ballintubber take the pre very quickly. Cillian O'Connor cuts inside. Ronan Finn slips it off to O'Malley, and he finishes very, very well, low down from 13 yards. Mark taken by Cav, but it's knocked out of his hands, so it's going to be brought up. Diarmuid O'Connor just slapping the ball away from David O'Reilly's hands from the kick out from Alvin McCallig. Takos takes a give and go, gets it back, gives it to David Egan, and he's going to have a go from distance, and that's going high, wide, and not very handsome. Looks like Claremorris are going to be introducing another substitute possibly.
There could be coming on a bit more physicality going through the forward department, but I don't know now, as Austin kind of touched on it there a minute ago, they're struggling in so many areas of the field now. You're kind of plugging so many gaps of the field. It's impossible to maybe plug. There's more than one gap that you have to plug today.
You have to say that the experience that the Ballintubber team have of finals and championship and the county players they have at their disposal, they've gone about their work very, very well. They've gone about it calmly, no rush, no fuss. They're just sleek.
Yeah, they're just so composed. They're winning their ball. Nothing is rushed. Options are being taken at the right time. Right person getting it. And again, just that calmness, alertness, and they're all playing with their heads up. And I mean, obviously, Claremorris they're a young side, and when a team gets a run on you like that, it can be really, really hard to get back into it again. And as you said, there, Ballintubber have huge experience, in terms of winning county titles, and they've been around the block a long time. So it's a really measured performance there from them at the minute.
2 points Claremorris, Ballintubber 3-8, coming up to 25 minutes gone in the first half here of a very quiet Elverys MacHale Park in the second of our semi-finals today. Live for you on MayoGATV.com. If you want to get in touch with us, don't forget you can get us on Twitter at MayoGATV or on our Facebook page. Cillian O'Connor being marked by Aidan Butler, the captain for Claremorris, gets it to his brother Diarmuid, who sells the dummy and gets the shot off on his right foot, and that's a great score. Worked very well there by the O'Connor brothers, and Diarmuid O'Connor sold a dummy, turned his man, popped it over the bar.
Well, the main thing that you in those situations is a bit of coolness, a bit of composure, but you also have to have the skill set to do that, and the 2 O'Connors show that.
Gonna see now, it looks like there's going to be 2 substitutions possibly on the Claremorris team. It looks like they're warming up David Gannon as well. McCallie goes short this time, and Butler gives it to Finn. Rides the challenge of O'Connor, but it's going to be a free. And Aidan.
Team, number 17, Mackin replaces number 10, Ryan Quirk.
First substitution made, and Ryan Quirk being called over, and as we said, the physicality of Matthew Mackin trying to get the Claremorris team, just try and get their game plan moving, get their momentum going. They've got the game at the moment is very stop-start for them, and again they go long that time towards Diskin, and that ball is spilled again, and Ballintubber will just be grateful they can get it up, but it's 4 Claremorris players trying to turn it over. What do you think at half time will the management team of John Mulkeen and Ray Kennelly et al. Try and get through to the players in the second half, John?
It's kind of frustrating because there's, as I mentioned earlier, defensively the Ballintubber forward line are just pulling the Claremorris defence. It's not that the Claremorris defence are in any way stand them off, it's just that the way they have that, it's like Dylan O'Connor, the 2 O'Connors, they have that, I suppose, telepathy in terms of their passing inside. They're just drawing the Claremorris defence out. It's not anything to do with Claremorris maybe defensively poor, it's more just the real cutting edge attacking unit that Ballintubber possess.
It's the experience of those players, and Claremorris will learn. They'll want to come out and give a better performance in the second half, no doubt. Another wide kick there by Paddy Barry. You'd have to say that the first goal kind of shocked them a bit, and then they never seem to recover from that early goal.
Yeah, I suppose that early setback was huge, and you're playing catch up. And you're playing catch up against a team against Ballintubber, you're trying to push out a little bit more, then trying to get back into the game. And then as soon as you're doing that, then you're leaving yourself that little bit more exposed inside. And we see it here again now. Garrymore and Killian are going to be combining.
Ball inside from Diarmuid O'Connor, slips it into his brother Killian. He goes one way, then the other. Aidan Butler behind him, but he just puts that one to the right and wide, and had more time than he thought.
Yeah, he did. I think could even taken a step, and your man was well beaten. I'd expect a little bit more from Killian in that situation.
You have to be impressed with the way that Ballintubber have gone about their job in this first half.
Yeah, they've been clinical, as John said there a while ago. Maybe Ballintubber want to get into the game early, put Claremorris away before they get their second win, and I'd say we may have that done at this stage.
3-9 to 2 points. 1 minute of additional time will be added here in Elverys MacHale Park, and there's a free for Ballintubber. Looking to take it quickly is Danny Garrity, the captain. He pops it to Diarmuid O'Connor, who gets his head up and looking for movement inside. He's looking for Stephen O'Malley again, and Paddy Barry's had his hands full with Stephen O'Malley this half. Going for 2-3, gives it to Plunkett. Plunkett has a runner coming through, and that's Michael Plunkett, and trying to find Alan Dillon, but couldn't get the ball to him, and that movement breaks down, and Claremorris can come away with the ball and hopefully try and get a score before half time. Aidan Butler, the captain, has continued his run up the left hand side, and Matthew Mackin showed great strength there to hold off 2 challenges. Quick ball delivered by Ronan Finn in towards Shaughnessy, but again, ball not good enough, and Ballintubber break it up and come away with the ball. As John rightly said, it's not for the want of trying that Claremorris are running hard and they're trying to keep the work rate high. It's just that Ballintubber have been moved them around, and there's Killian O'Connor, who is tracking his opposite number, his defender Aidan Butler, and that made a run of a 45-50 yards, and maybe the legs are getting a bit tired in this half for Killian O'Connor. That's 2 bad misses he'd count, and there seems to be a bit of issue between Alan Dillon and Brendan Walsh, the goalkeeper, between Alvin McCalligan, Alan Dillon. But Claremorris continue forward, delivered a quick ball in towards Conor Diskin, but again can't get the ball at the first attempt, and the breaking ball is won by Ballintubber, and they can build again from the back. The Claremorris players just can't get close enough at times to close it down, and there's players with their hands on their knees at this stage for Claremorris as the ball finds its way to Alan Dillon. He comes inside. Nicky Pilbro plays it to Stephen O'Malley. O'Malley with his left foot this time, and that's over the bar from Stephen O'Malley. Scores from the left and right foot. They seem to have switched back Ronan Finn onto Stephen O'Malley, but it seems a bit late at this stage for that. It's 3-10, plays 2 points as we slowly approach half time. And John, it's difficult to sum up something like that, but you'd have to say that, as you've mentioned, it's the experience and the finesse of this Ballintubber team that maybe the inexperience of Claremorris at this level. As you said, they're a young team, they're a coming team. They just need to maybe learn from what's going on around them.
Yeah, I suppose it's a harsh learning experience for them today. A lot of these lads, 7 of the starting team, have current under 21 this year, and a lot of them have under 21 and minor titles in the past. I had never been in a county semi-final. Alvin McCallick is the only player that has been in a county semi-final in 2008 against Charlestown. So it's a big experience for them. I know it's going to be a harsh one, and I think for Claremorris and the management team now in the second half, it's so important now that they just start off a fresh game and maybe win the second half. Set maybe 10-minute goals for themselves that For Ballintubber now, obviously they're going to tail back a little bit. They're going to maybe not go full gung-ho now, because they know maybe they're in a county final in next weekend. So for Claremorris, they should be setting off mini goals, and that's a serious
That's ball by Killian O'Connor trying to find Stephen O'Malley, but just drifted away at the last moment, and the goalkeeper Alvin McCaddy comes out and sweeps it up. So you'd have to say that the way the Ballintubber have gone about their job in this first half here, it's going to be a tough task for Claremorris. 2 points for Claremorris, 3-10 for Ballintubber. Here from Elverys MacHale Park, and we hand over now to Liam Horan.
Thanks very much, Tom. We're joined by Austin O'Malley. First of all, in reality, Austin, there's very little to say other than Ballintubber shows their good form. We've come out of the week fresh, and for Claremorris, it's just not happening. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not happening for them. They're being dominated all over the field, and then they're being put to the sword up front by just the movement, the patience, and how and the composure of Ballintubber. It's been a joy to watch, I suppose, maybe from my own perspective as a forward, just to see their movement and the way they're getting the right man on the ball the whole time. But their problems, Claremorris' problems, are probably starting further out the field in terms of like just the physicality of Ballintubber. They're dominating every sector out there, and even the ball that Claremorris are getting in, it's not sticking. It's again, they're getting a hand in, it's been broken. They're so economically when they move forward. Then, and Cian O'Connor has just split them open there with a couple of passes off his left side, which would be perceived to be his weaker side, which is great to see that he's developing that more as well now. So, and again, Alan Dillon there, he's just popping up in those pockets of space, moving it on. Then you have Diarmuid O'Connor ghosting in behind, and what can you say about young O'Malley? 2-5, up there in the first half, so it's dream stuff for him. So he's one to watch.
From Ballintubber's perspective, clearly they haven't got opposition of the level to be accustomed to, but they would have to be happy, I think, with what you're talking about, the fact that they are putting together clever play. Like but they're putting it together.
They are, and that's great for them. They we would say they'll kick on and they will win this, no doubt. But to have that in your locker, going in, and doing it in real time as opposed to in training or whatever, it really will stand to you. So everything looks really good for them there. They look seriously composed, very economical, very calculated, and it's really mature as well. The stuff that's been done out there. So Claremorris are going in. What do you do? I suppose as a management team, you just got to go and sort of hit delete and try and come out and go for another 30 and see where it takes you. But as we said previously, I suppose Ballintubber have all the aces, and I mean they've certainly thrown a few of them to the table there in the first half.
Yeah, sometimes I heard you using the word harsh, John, and it has been a harsh outing for Claremorris, and sometimes that happens in football where you sort of reach beyond where you maybe expected you were going to, and all of a sudden it's a bit more difficult than you thought. Yeah. And but good things have been done by Claremorris this year. What though the field be lost, all need not be lost.
Like, I suppose for the year in itself, a performance like this, it kind of puts a dampener on it, because you make so many steps for progress. But we were just touching on it there, like a team for Ballintubber that has so much experience. Claremorris haven't been in a situation like this since 2008, and only Alvin MacHale is the only player that has played in a county semi-final. Claremorris haven't been in a county final since 1978, so it's a young team, and this is the harsh reality now, that maybe they're punching a little bit above their weight, because the performance against Brafey caught an awful lot of people by surprise. It probably caught Ballintubber by surprise as well, and they probably thought, we have to take these boys serious now on Sunday, and they wanted to blow us out of the water in the opening 20 minutes, and that's what they did. Stephen O'Malley absolutely exceptional at corner forward, but it's for the year in itself, a performance like this, it kind of glosses over this was the positivity that we would have built up throughout the season, but it can be difficult, and I suppose, as you said, sport can be cruel, it can be harsh.
Yes, it may be hard for Claremorris to keep things in perspective, of course. I mean, as we said, they have had a good season, but we are going to take a look at the Stephen O'Malley goals. We have the two Stephen O'Malley goals. Jackie, I'll get you and Austin to join me here. He has announced himself here. Anyway, this is the first one, I think.
Of it. I said there earlier on that Stephen's confidence has been lacking a little bit all season. That's why he lost his place. Ray Geraghty came in.
See that again as well. Yeah. We did a few times, in fact. Yeah.
But we would have known Stephen from an under 14 upwards. He was able to hit 45s and that when he was at that age. So this year has been maybe his weakest year up to now. Lost his place, but I tell you, when he got the chance today, now you have to admit he's playing around quality guys around him, and they're popping off to the ball to him every time. They're making him look good, but you have to be able, as Austin O'Malley here beside you tell me, you have to be able to finish it when you get the chance.
Yeah, the finish was good, Austin.
Oh, it was really good, yeah, really composed, and it's lovely to see that, as Jackie said there, that maybe a player that was struggling for a little bit of form early on, but as the old saying goes, form is temporary, class is permanent, and it's great to see he was a bit of an underage prodigy as well, Jackie, was he?
Well, he's going to school in Westport. He's on that edge of the parish. He has been an underage prodigy, admittedly. The nice thing I like about him today is, as the Gooch would say, you just slide it along the ground, and that's what he's sliding them today, down along the ground. Last week we had one here with Jermich, hit it chest high to a keeper, made the keeper look good, but today Stephen is along the ground, very hard for a keeper to get down.
Yeah, no, it was an exceptional finish.
Yeah, we're going to see his second one now as well. Stephen O'Malley was on now in a second. Okay.
It's again from Killeen, just bringing the ball in, and the same thing again, it's along the ground again. As I said, Alvin MacHale is a big keeper, so it takes him a while to get down, but if once you put them along the ground, whether it's five-a-side or anything else, it takes a good bit to get down, but it's all created again by Killeen coming through, running onto it, laying it off, simple little hand pass to the of it. No turning, he didn't have to do a thing, just take it in a stride and pop. See that? No need to turn at all.
For any young player watching, Austin, it's how you do it.
It's absolutely, but again, Jackie said it there, but Cillian O'Connor's fingerprints have been all over this in the first half. Again, it might be the bigger scores, but in the phases previous to it, he's been dictating everything and he's been moving the ball on really smartly. And I'm sure young O'Malley out there is probably thinking he's in heaven at the moment with the likes of Alan Dillon around him and the two O'Connors, and then you have a stalwart like the two Plunketts there as well, and Jason Gibbons plucking ball there, and just they're creating so much around.
He's guaranteed the status of marked man in the final anyway, you have to say. So it's good work from Stephen O'Malley there, really good work, and good work from Ballintubber overall. John, in these difficult conditions, who has done their bit for Claremorris?
I suppose it's defensively, we kind of touched on it earlier on. It's not maybe the fact that Claremorris are defensively very poor, it's just the real orchestration up front from the likes of Dillon, O'Connor, O'Malley, just pulling the Claremorris defence ragged. And the Claremorris, they don't know whether to close in, double up, because there's so many players running in and just kind of cutting the Claremorris defence wide apart. I don't know now, the likes you could double team O'Malley, then you leave Dillon then free. So it's for Claremorris now, they really have to reassess for the second half, try and get, maybe as Austin mentioned there, kind of press the delete button and maybe set them maybe 10-minute goals in the second period, and try and reassess and try and get back into the game and maybe just a clean slate.
Okay, well, it hasn't all been despondent for South Mayo today, because Garrymore have pushed Castlebar Mitchels to a replay, and Shane Nally, one of the stars of that very entertaining encounter, it must be said, has just joined me now. Shane, you've had a chance to catch your breath after that. You left it a bit late, I suppose, eventually, but you got there in terms of pushing it to a replay.
Yeah, I suppose it's going into the last few minutes, it was kind of nip and tuck, and in fairness to Jimmy, he was at high school in the veins there for that last free, struck it straight over the bar. I suppose we just took at it really, going 6 points down just after the half time. It was a bit of a sucker bunch, but I know the lads training all year, we've kind of stuck to our plan. We've I know, like against Ballina in the last game, we went to 8 points down the first 10 minutes, and we knew ourselves not to panic, even if there's a bit of if we're trailing a good bit. But we stuck at it, and it's kind of credit to the lads. We worked it out, and we're delighted we got the 11 point there at the end, and we'll just have to go again on Wednesday.
Both Austin and Danny here felt they would have been happier to see Jimmy kicking it from his hands. Jimmy said himself the hands didn't go too well in the first half a few times, but what did you feel you saw it on the carpet?
Yeah, I suppose I'd back Jimmy off his hands or from the carpet. In fairness to him, he's done it for us year in, year out, from the ground or from the hands, frees in pressure situations. In fairness to him, I suppose credit goes to him that he took the bull by the horns, I suppose, and took it straight over the bar. I was standing right behind it when he took the free, and I knew the minute he kicked it, it was sailing straight over the bar. But in fairness, credit to Jimmy, he's very good at them frees, and hopefully he can push on again for Wednesday.
What kind of a week does this mean for your guys? Because you probably were planning to train during the week, but not a big game Wednesday night.
Yeah, I suppose the short turnover now between Wednesday, there probably won't be any training done. It'll only probably be just a collective get together, have a chat, maybe have a discussion on what went well for us, what went wrong for us between now and Wednesday. So it's vital, really. It's just about recovery, making sure that we get our bodies in the right state of mind coming for Wednesday, and hopefully that we can get a performance and leave nothing unturned from now and from the Wednesday.
Okay, Shane, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, team.
Yeah, that's Shane Nally, Mayo footballer, of course, and player with Garrymore here today in that entertaining first game. We'll have that game live on MayoGAA.tv.com on Wednesday night, presuming it goes ahead on Wednesday night, which it almost certainly will. We did tempt fate by saying there might be a draw in the second game. That's not going to happen now, I think. Unfortunately, Claremorris taking a bit of a pasting here from a rampant Ballintubber team. Jackie, we talked on Wednesday night about that game getting Ballintubber going again and getting them, because Jason Gibbons said as well, not playing all that well all year, got their into their stride Wednesday night and have really built on that today.
Well, I suppose as we said on Wednesday night, Liam, about training, running around on a mucky pitch, games are nicer to play, and they've been playing on excellent pitches, so if that doesn't get you out, nothing else will. But most lads, like us all, no matter what age we are, we like playing ball. Don't like training so much, but we like playing ball. And they're getting their chance today, they got their chance Wednesday night, and with the help of God, they'll get their chance next weekend again, I think, at the moment. I hope.
Quality of their play up front must be very reassuring for I mean, we know they have a great forward line. They've had a great forward line for years, but the quality of that play must be something that's reassuring.
Well, when you go through the individually, maybe Stephen, and Stephen was on the Mayo minor team of last year, so Stephen O'Malley now, so all the rest of them would have had, maybe Bear, Ireland, Plunkett, everyone else have played inter-county football at some level or another, so they're just not only Joe Soaps, these are good lads. Doesn't always show that way, but today everything that's strike today is turning to gold. Yeah,
absolutely, that's the phrase for us. It is a Midas touch, and Claremorris, as John has said, will probably approach the second half, and they will probably approach the second half with trying to maybe make a fist on the scoreboard, maybe try and win the second half or something like that. Of course, there is a danger now with the replay. The final may go to Sunday. Of course, there was a talk of a Saturday night game, maybe a double header of the intermediate final. That may well go to Sunday now. Mitchells or Garrymore may argue that they need an extra day, and one can understand that argument as well. But is that it, John, for Claremorris? Try and win the second half, try and get something from it. Teams can still take something from this. If the curve is genuinely upward, if they are really going somewhere, they can still recover from this.
They can still, I suppose, as I mentioned there, kind of set the markers for the second half. Try and maybe win the first 15 minutes and then see where that takes them from. And as we all know, Croke Park can be a lonely place. MacHale Park can be a lonely place in days like this where you're taking, as you said, a pasting. But for a young team like that, it's all part of their learning experience. They'll take it home with them this evening and they'll move on for next year. To come to a county semi-final against all the odds this year, no one gave us a chance of even getting out of our group, never mind getting, because everyone thought about Ahamore and Ballintubber would qualify. To even get out of our group, win a quarter-final against Brafey, and even to compete at this level is huge for them.
Okay, John, thank you very much. I'm going to go back to Tom Kearney and Jackie and John for the second half, and thank you to Austin as well and to Shane Nally for half-time. Thank you.
Thank you, Liam. And welcome everyone to the second half of the game. The referee Vincent Neary just making his way out to the middle. No changes that we can see on either team. We'll see what Claremorris have decided in the dressing room. They're going to be positive, just show what they can do, let them play football. They've nothing to lose at this stage. Ronan Finn working hard inside, trying to get a turn is James Shaughnessy, so it's going to be an early chance at a shot at goal for Claremorris. So the Claremorris players will want to show that they have pride in their jersey, just for themselves as well, and just show what they can do, show how they can play. What, as you said, the way that they've played this year to get to this point has been a great opportunity, but unfortunately that ball just goes to the left and wide, and hopefully not a sign of things to come.
They just really need to give it a cut. They just need to go at it and leave the result or leave the scoreline. Don't be even looking at the scoreline. Just look at it as a new game now starting off and see where that takes them. Because if they always thinking about their chipping into the lead all the time, they're not going to get anywhere.
Short kick out works his way out to Alan Dillon. Plunkett from the centre back position gives it off to his co-half back Miles Kelly, and finds Stephen O'Malley, who, as Jackie alluded to in the first half, was low on confidence after that performance in the first half. His confidence probably knows no bounds, and Jason Gibbons' kick gets blocked down. Dillon flicks it up to Clark, and it's a great diagonal ball to Cillian O'Connor on the edge of the square, but could try to gather it at the first attempt and touched it on the ground. So Aidan Butler, captain for Claremorris, gives it to Alvin McCallig, who's being pressed by Cillian O'Connor. And Claremorris now playing into that stiff breeze. They're going to go out and, as John said, just give it a cut, show what they can do, show what got them to where they are today. Ball delivered high inside towards Diskin. He tried to reach over the top but couldn't quite claim it off Brian Murphy, and Loftus comes round and just tidies it up and clears the ball to the free man. And Ballintubber on the break again. Damien Coleman is allowed to run 30-40 yards, switches the play to Alan Dillon, and Dillon delivers it. Ball inside to Plunkett, who didn't have to break stride. Ball kicked in towards Stephen O'Malley. He wasn't expecting that early, but it breaks his way to Cillian O'Connor, and Cillian is deemed to have been fouled by Paddy Barry, so it's going to be a free just on the 21 for Ballintubber, and all the experience and all the cuteness I think was on show there.
Well, I don't know what Jackie might say, but I thought that was of the soft variety. I thought Killian bought that of Vincenteri, but we won't go anywhere near that.
Austin, I think Austin could claim maybe he had one or two like that as well, but we won't go down that road.
No, he did. Yeah, he purchased that one definitely. But look, that's the nature of I suppose when you're at that level, you'll take what's going, and he certainly did there. So yeah, and he's cracked over the score now just to add more misery to Claremorris.
3-11 Ballintubber, Claremorris 2 points. We have 3 minutes gone in the second half here, live from Elverys MacHale Park on MayoGAA.tv.com. Don't forget you can get in touch with us on Twitter at MayoGAA.tv. Don't forget that everybody who purchases the game today or liked and shared the photo is in line to the draw for the Cordia We Owe tickets donated by Mayo GAA. And Claremorris, but Diskin wins that ball out in front. He's trying to get a shot off, and that's just over the bar. He was looking to burst the net, I think, catching that one, but a better move from Claremorris. Ball fed in well, won it out in front and turned and hit it first time.
Oh yeah, for a score like that, like we repeatedly did that in the first half, putting long ball in on top of Conor Diskin. I know he was winning out in front, but just Ballintubber suffocated them around that area of the field. But it's a score, but we need more of that.
Vincent Neary has stalled the play. There seemed to be a third man block off the ball. Clark went down, so he's having a word with Sean Diskin. Claremorris, they're certainly being more positive in their play. They're trying to attack and they're trying to get scores, Jackie.
Yeah, you can see it. I suppose, as John said, like they have to try and win at least 50 minutes of the game anyway for their own pride's sake. So they're working very hard.
Dylan to Gibbons gets away from the challenge, and Jason Gibbons being chased down by Sean Diskin, trying to stop his run. He lays it off to Alan Plunkett, and Plunkett hits the post and ball drops into the large square, and well gathered up by Paddy Barry. Trying to win the ball off him was Stephen O'Malley, trying to add to his impressive goal scoring tally so far today. But Claremorris are not going to go quietly. They're going to give this game a right go in the second half, and with just coming up to 5 minutes gone, they can certainly improve their performance. Just taking their chances, but that shot is pulled and that's gone to wide again, and that's their second wide already in this half, and one drop short. So it's going to be could be long, and the confidence is low. Things just don't go your way.
The simple execution of just kicking the ball, everything goes out the window on you when your head is down. So they need to lift a little bit, get their own pride. Bit of pride needs to be restored in their jersey.
Walsh out towards Jason Gibbons, attacks the ball, wins it out in front of Danny Garrity, who was expecting to claim it. Jason Gibbons came like an absolute bullet. Great ball into Pádraig O'Connor, lays it off to Alan Dillon, who came around in the loop onto his right, trying to hit it with the outside of his right, but drops into the hands of Alvin McCallig, and he can get Claremorris going. Claremorris are certainly trying to drive Ballintubber back. Pilbro gets a give and go, lays it off then out to the far side in front of the media tower here at Elverys MacHale Park. Chipped over the top, and Takos is in, he lays it inside, and that's well taken, and he's tried to return the ball. Matthew Mackin won the ball on the spin, tried to offload it just too far ahead, and that attack fizzles out.
Yeah, you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to run at the Ballintubber defence, and it kind of is working to a certain point, but Ballintubber, they're using all their experience, closing off the avenues of attack, and as well, another thing that Ballintubber have now, they've lots of experience. They know how to kill a game. They have a number of players that played county football, so they know Claremorris are going to come at them now for the next 10 or 12 minutes, so they're going to have all the experience to close them out.
Claremorris are getting ready, another substitution. Looks like Mikey Higgins is getting ready to be brought into the game. It's going to be a free for Shawkins. He's trying to switch the play, and Jason Gibbons read that and intercepted it, and Nicky Pilbro just feet were planted, and now he has to try and get back and cut off the avenue. And over the far side is Alan Plunkett if they can find him, and the goalies come out to try and stop it, and Alvin McCallig has dispossessed him, but he's taken the ball out over the end line, so it's going to be a 45, and Austin O'Malley with two quick passes, a poor free kick and two quick passes by Ballintubber. They were in again.
Yeah, they were in again. And Jason Gibbons there again, like, has been very, very composed around there, and he's been looks actually very, very sharp. He's getting in on the end of things there that you normally Jason is, he's a big frame of a man, but he's looking very, very open and loose in his running there, and he's causing them all sorts of problems there. They were looking at I thought that young Plunkett was going to slip that underneath the keeper there, but he wrapped him up well. So I think they've got the result in 45 there now.
Killian O'Connor waiting for the ball, and the substitution has indeed taken place. You have Sean Diskin being replaced by Mikey Higgins. And there's a substitution, another substitution being made as well, looks like. Ballintubber wanted to make one, but it's not ready. Diarmuid O'Connor's day is done. He's got his goal today. And after playing midweek as well, no doubt the Ballintubber side management will be taking a few of their stronger performers off.
Yeah, he looks coming off a little bit gingerly there. I hope he's all right, because Jim is one of those guys, he could be injured and you won't know anything about it. He keeps it to himself. So, because we reckon he hasn't been the same man at all year. So we hope he's all right. He looks all right anyway.
Diarmuid O'Connor strikes that 45, and that's gone over the bar. A score from Cillian O'Connor. 3-12 for Ballintubber, 3 points for Diarmuid O'Connor. Is being seen to by the physios there. Yeah, it seems he might have picked up a slight knock. So hopefully he'll get it recovered in time for the final, which we believe is provisionally going to be Sunday now due to the replay on Wednesday between Garrymore and Castlebar, which game just coming up to 9 minutes gone in the second half. 3 points Claremorris, 3-12 Ballintubber, and Claremorris are certainly trying to get some challenges going, and that's MacHale held up by Plunkett, and ball breaks, and that's into Nicky Pilbro. He's trying to get a score, but Ballintubber have numbers back, and Pilbro coughs up the ball in possession, and that's a high challenge. It's going to be a high challenge. The referee's going to call him over just to have a word. Looks like James Shaughnessy back there trying to help out his defence, and with the number of players crumbing at different angles, sometimes the Claremorris players don't know which way the attack is coming from.
Yes, it's frustrating, and they're kind of coming from deep. They're trying to make that decisive run through the middle of the field, and I suppose you can see there Ballintubber were so expert at what they did there. They just crowded the middle sector of the field. They kind of drew Claremorris in. They said, bring us in, you want us to come in here, and then they just crowded them out of it and dispossessed them, and obviously James Shaughnessy got caught there with a high challenge on Denny Gerty.
Ballintubber going to run the bench. There's another substitute being ready there. Looks like Ray Gerty is going to come into the game. Cillian O'Connor is fouled in the middle of the field, and Austin O'Malley, it's probably a sensible move from Tom Prendergast that he starts running the bench and getting players ready for the final.
Yeah, absolutely. He's pulled Diarmuid O'Connor out there now, and that's a really, really wise move. Probably Alan Dillon, yeah, he's just gone now as well, and I'd say probably we'd be looking to pull the likes of Jason Gibbons out of there and a number of other guys just to keep them fresh. This thing is done and dusted, so it's a matter of just winding the clock down now and thinking of the next outing.
Broderick gathers the ball at the second attempt but loses it at the third. Eventually makes his way to Cillian O'Connor, who's drifted out to the middle of the field. That's a ball in towards substitute in, and Boric O'Connor turn on the dime and just stuck it over the bar, and that's a great score for him for today, wearing his we believe now it's his favourite 30 lucky jersey.
That's number 30 from now on. That's the third O'Connor to score today, so that's keeping it in the family, as they say.
I think they'll be having a highlight reel later on to see who got the best score, but Ballintubber are on the attack again, and Stephen O'Malley trying to get the ball into his hand. He has support left and right. Took the more difficult option. He's given the ball to Ray Gerty. It should have been laid off to Broderick, who was free on the outside, and Jason Gibbons lays it off to Damien Coleman, and Coleman strikes this one right foot, but it's gone over the bar, and that's a great score for the back Damien Coleman. This year he's played well in the last 14 matches the Ballintubber have played.
Yeah, as we said that a week ago, that he's forward all his career, but this year he has reverted back, and he has been actually marvellous.
3-14 for Ballintubber, 3 points to Claremorris, coming up to 12 minutes gone in the second half here at Elverys MacHale Park. Ball won by Mackin in the middle of the field, and he's Jason Gibbons for company. As John Brennan alluded to, a bit of physicality was what was required, and he's certainly trying to drive his team forward. He has a support runner from the outside, carried the ball into the challenge that time. Miles Kelly almost stripped the ball away, being chased down there by David Clark, but Claremorris have a free man on the right hand side if they can switch the play, but they lose the ball again. And you have to say that the execution of some of the basic skills from Claremorris has not been great, but as we said, when they've been beaten down by an utterly dominant Ballintubber team, it's difficult for players to to try and get up, but the try they are, and that's a good ball over the top into Stephen Brennan, trying to work an angle for a score, but again the ball slips through the hands. That time it was Ronan Finn to Egan trying to poke it around the corner to Takos, tries to win his own break. He gets the ball. Somebody thinks there was a foul there, so it's going to be a free in. It's been difficult for the Claremorris team to gain any kind of momentum, as we see David Gannon coming in for Ronan Finn, and just can't get any momentum, can't get any foothold in the game. Just it's not, as you say, a true reflection of this team and the way they performed. But you'd have to say that the players, there's just nothing going for them in this half either.
Yeah, like that's David Gannon's in there for Ronan Finn. David Gannon's only 18 years of age. He's only out of minor, so you kind of need to look at Claremorris for the future. Like I'd say out of the whatever is named there for the bench today, I'd say 2/3 of the team will be playing club football for Claremorris hopefully in 10-12 years time. So they need to use this as a base going forward. Ballintubber has numerous players. You look at Brendan Walsh, Carl Hanlon, the vital areas in the field. They have so much experience. Claremorris, it's a harsh lesson for them today in terms of their experience of their football careers, but these are the days that you need to put in the locker and use going forward, and maybe try and maybe take the next step for next season.
Substitution there for Ballintubber as they come on the attack again, trying to deliver a ball into. Oh, and this player still willing to run for Ballintubber. They have Broderick. Raise it off from Garrity. Kicks it around the corner to Killian O'Connor. Killian O'Connor to Stephen O'Malley. Sells the dummy. Gives it, slips it to Ray Garrity. Tries to tap it over the bar, and that's just gone to the left and wide. And even Ballintubber are prone to missing the odd one.
No, I suppose I'd say you can get a bit lackadaisical. We're starting to bring on a good few subs now, so their shape is going to go a bit all over the place. That was Ray Garrity, who normally would be pretty accurate, but that was a bad miss.
Killian O'Connor fouls James McCormick, and Aidan Butler is trying to drive his team forward, the captain for Claremorris, but the ball is kicked away, and Ballintubber can once again go straight onto the attack. They have runners left and right. Broderick Gibbons decides to go along. It's a ball over the top. Alvin McCarrick was off his line. I'm not sure if Jason Gibbons was trying to do a David Beckham and try and hit it over the top, but McCarrick had to quickly adjust his feet, Austin, just to drop back a couple of yards.
Yeah, he had to there. Yeah, it was an audacious kind of effort. I think he was looking probably for Stephen O'Malley there, but just put a little too much gas on it, and it almost caught the keeper out.
The keeper now striding into the middle of the field, delivers a great ball into Mikey Higgins, who's just come on and gets a free. Fouled by Miles Kelly, but I think Alvin McCalligus fancies himself of something of a sweeper, let alone maybe a sweeper keeper.
Yeah, I know Alvin is known to maybe even go out beyond the 21, even beyond the 45, and even beyond the halfway line at some times. So, but Alvin he's that kind of keeper. Like he's so comfortable in possession out near the. You see a lot of goalkeepers once they go outside their penalty box, then they're nearly scared to go any further. So Alvin is the kind of player that he offers that kind of outfield presence as well.
James Shaughnessy taps that over the bar, and that's another score for Claremorris. 5 points, Claremorris 3-14 to Ballintubber. Broderick to Gibbons, all the way back to Brendan Walsh. Ballintubber just trying to, as Jackie alluded to, all the several substitutions, their rhythm has been interrupted, and that time the ball is turned over. Diskin got his hand in the way, and James Shaughnessy now can get Claremorris into the attacking part of the field. That's about David O'Reilly. He's going to have a cut at this with the left foot, and David O'Reilly puts that over the bar, and Claremorris just in the last few minutes getting 3 good scores. And another substitution for Claremorris. Stephen McGrail is coming in for Dakin Takos, and Claremorris have in the last few moments got 3 very good scores.
Yeah, 3 very good scores, and things have, I suppose, opened up a little bit. Maybe Ballintubber have taken the foot off the gas a little bit, but as I said, Claremorris are a young team, and it's not that they don't have ability. It's just that this there today seems to have phased them a little bit, and just the power and I suppose the composure and the pace, and Ballintubber having the experience again. But no, they're hanging in there, and they're doing all they can be asked of them now at the moment.
Game restarted. Mark taken by Jason Gibbons, decides to carry on with the ball, switches into his midfield partner Danny Garrity, Ballintubber captain. gives it to Gary Loftus. Loftus to Coleman. Clark was running the straight line, and Coleman carries the ball, trying to find it in the corner. It's a great ball into the corner to Pádraig O'Connor. Gives it to his brother Killian O'Connor, and he's going to have a cut at this from all of 35 yards. And you have to say, as an inter-county footballer, they don't get much better.
You just can't sit back and admire Killian in terms of his kicking there. Like, and you need to look. He kind of feels sorry for the Claremorris defence. You look at the Dublin full back line in the All Ireland final. Killian was doing that at that level. So that's the kind of level that he's at. He's up in the top 2 or 3 forwards in the country, and for the Claremorris defence here this evening, it's difficult for them. But when you're marking that kind of power and that, I suppose, that experience, and Killian, he bought that free there as well. He knows he's around the block a long time. He's still relatively young by an inter-county standard, but like, sometimes you have to admire a footballer like that.
You've been watching Killian O'Connor and the O'Connor brothers since they were small, Jackie. This is the work rate and the intensity they bring to games. Oh, that was Jason Gibbons thought about. Absolutely, Ben, but I think he pulled it at the last moment. He was about to draw a foot in that ball, and I think he realised he was about to kick his captain, which is never a good idea in any game, especially when it's your own one. You can kick the opposition one, they say, but not your own one. And Jackie, the O'Connor as another substitution for Ballintubber.
Stephen Finnerty coming on for Damien Cole. Stephen Finnerty for Damien Coleman.
The O'Connor brothers today have been particularly to the floor, and with the young Stephen O'Malley.
Yeah, with Stephen O'Malley also, but in the O'Connors you have 3 there. I think I see Rory maybe hanging around there today. Rory's away all year, working away. There will be 4 O'Connors. There's 5 Garrys, all living within a couple of 100 yards of another in Ballintubber. So you're practically a team within a half a mile.
Loose pass that time into the right corner forward position. Stephen O'Malley couldn't keep it in. Claremorris take a short kick out. 6 points Claremorris, 3:15 to Ballintubber, coming up to 20 minutes gone in the second half of the Treanlaur Catering Mayo Senior Football Championship, and another pass goes astray for Claremorris, just giving possession straight back to Ballintubber. Jason Gibbons' diagonal ball gave a lot of work for Killian O'Connor to do, but well shepherded by James McCormick. McCormick trying to drive his team, but again the possession is given away, and Ballintubber are able to break at pace, and Killian O'Connor comes across to receive the ball from Pádraig, and they switch it back inside, and Claremorris are trying to get back, and the substitute just on, Stephen Finnerty, just kicks that to the left and wide. And mention for Conor Finnerty, who was injured here in the replay game on Wednesday night as a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, this is the 3rd time now, so there's an operation after this. It has to be, because he's too good to let a career slip by. He has a lot of little injuries up to now, so I hope this one doesn't put him away for a good while, but with the help of God, next year he'll be back stronger than ever.
Send him our best wishes for a fast recovery as Ballintubber get themselves into a bit of a muddle, and James Shaughnessy has an opportunity to tap on another score for Claremorris, and he pops that over with 9 minutes to go. We're just limping towards the full-time whistle. There's positives to be taken for Claremorris would be that they've got to this point in the championship, into a semi-final. Something, as you said, was not even on the target for a lot of people outside of Claremorris for this team. They've done themselves well. They've done the club proud. They've done the town proud, and I'm sure that once the dust settles and they have a look at what's happening as they continue to try and get scores, and just little mistakes, little hand passes go astray, it'll be something that the players will definitely be able to look back on and use, as you say, for next year.
I think it's important now that they don't use this result to maybe kind of brush over their season's performance, because we had a relatively good league campaign, won the South Mayo Mara Cup for a number of years, got out of our group, won our quarter-final, got to a semi-final. So I'd be hoping that this performance wouldn't determine the season that we've had, because it's so important as a group now, and to maybe reassess after this. And I think it's so important now that we, for the team, like a lot of these lads now will be playing club in the 21 Championship now next weekend, and it's so important for them to build for next year, and maybe thinking we actually can compete at this level. This was a big day for them. A lot of these lads never experienced anything like this before, so for them to to get out to MacHale Park and experience a county semi-final, it's huge for them in terms of their experience. They can bank that experience now, but I hope this performance doesn't gloss over what we've achieved so far.
Colin Gill with the yellow card there for a drag back. Ballintubber will be looking to punish any mistakes, and that's a good ball in by Michael Plunkett. And Stephen O'Malley turns inside, and McCormick's trying to get back and stop him from scoring. They pop it, he kicks it past to Alan Plunkett, but that's gone high up, and the goalie's come out again. And as we already alluded to, Alvin McCallig is mad to come out the field. Mackin, shadowed by O'Connor, Pádraig O'Connor, carrying the ball, trying to take the game to Ballintubber, and he's getting half a yard ahead, and he comes back inside. Kick pass to David Egan. There's a switch on to his on the right hand side. They've gone high inside to James Shocking, and there's a 2-on-1, and he's going to find it difficult to win that, but the breaking ball falls to Colin Gill. It's coming around, trying to get away from Stephen Finnerty. Gives away the free, quickly taken, and it's Stephen Brennan trying to come inside, and he's being dragged back, and the referee says that's a free. And you can see what your brother was trying to do. He was trying to get inside the large square to him, put the right foot through the ball like he did in the in the previous game.
Yeah, I suppose he was trying to manufacture something there, but Ballintubber are so experienced, they just clog up that central channel. Claremorris there was never a goal on there.
As we see this free taken, James tries to drive it, and Brendan Walsh comes out today, and you can see what they're trying to get a goal, and that time blocked by David O'Reilly, and then the shot attempt just goes wide. And Jackie, as John alluded to, the experience of Ballintubber is there for all to see.
Yeah, you can see that we're starting to run down the clock a little bit now. That I didn't realise there was still 9 minutes to go. You'd almost wish it to be over at some stages, because from our own point of view, play is getting very disjointed also.
Stephen Broderick gathers up the loose ball. Garrity turns it over, and Claremorris are on the attack again. Colin Gill delivers a great ball inside, and he's through, and then left footed, and that's a fantastic score by Stephen McGrail, who's just been on the field about 3 minutes. A great turnover, popped the ball, and great finish.
Yeah, we suppose it was important for them to get a goal on the board. 1-7, 3-15. It kind of takes a little bit of the really horrible look at the scoreline, but we manufactured that goal quite well. I think now in the last 5 or 6 minutes now, I think we get another couple of points on the board, get into double scores, and maybe just add a bit of respectability to the scoreline.
Ball one out from front by Ray Garrity. Jason Gibbons back to Garrity. Tried to switch the play, but kicked it away, and Claremorris can come on the attack again. David Gannon leaves it into Pilbro. Pilbro gives it to Conor Diskin. Conor trying to get away from Miles Kelly, feeds it inside, but the ball slips out of Stephen McGrail's hands, and Brendan Walsh says, anything Alvin McCallig to do, I can do better, but he can't, because he kicks the ball possession away for Ballintubber and has to backpedal to his goal as quick as he can. There's a ball inside, and Mackin is surrounded by the Ballintubber players, and this ball is stripped away from him, so it's a free out for Ballintubber. But Austin, Claremorris, a good move there, nice little ball in and a great finish.
Yeah, no, it was a super finish, and they managed to just get a little bit of space in behind the Ballintubber cover there, and they stretched them for once, and it was a beautiful finish. It's as the lads have alluded to there, it puts a bit of respectability on the scoreline. But all credit them, they've stuck at it. Things haven't been going well at all for them, as you can obviously see, but they've hung in there, and they've been diligent, and they've pressed, and they've kept at it, and that's all you can ask for them, and they've got their scores. They've hit 1-3, 1-4 there. Smartly, and they're young, and all credit to them for that.
Tom Prendergast roaring instructions at his defence. He's obviously not happy with something, so the ball is cleared long, delivered into Pádraig O'Connor from his brother Killian, and Killian's available if he wants him, but Ray Garrity is going to try and get Killian O'Connor one-on-one with Butler. Gets it, lays it off to Broderick, who's going to have a cut at this from the top of the D, and that's popped over the bar. Simple football, effective football. The last few minutes the game has just got a little bit more fractured with all the substitutions, but the kind of let Claremorris take advantage of that. The fluidity of the Ballintubber game seems to have gone out of the game.
Yeah, I suppose they've made a number of changes now, and I suppose they've one eye on the final now. And Claremorris, they did come there with a number of scores, but again, it's just the likes of even Killian O'Connor, they're winning that again. They're showing that bit of composure and got Stephen Walsh in there for a nice score again. So Ballintubber certainly will have one thing on their mind now, is to get out of this without any injuries, get home, get recovered, and set themselves up for next weekend again.
Claremorris trying to engineer another goal opportunity. Gives it into Mackin, left-footed, and that's in then, the goal, and that's a second goal for Claremorris. It's now 2-7 Claremorris, 3-16 Ballintubber. We have just coming up to 3 minutes to go, and you'd have to say Claremorris have taken advantage of the disjointed play from Ballintubber, and that's another bad goal to give away.
Yeah, very poor. We're just gone totally to sleep in a lot of positions, losing all the 50-50 battles at this stage. But it's good to see that Claremorris have hung in there. They're starting to restore a lot of pride. You can see the guys who were messing up at 10 minutes ago, now every ball is going good for them. So it's all about confidence early on, which they had lost. But it's good to see them getting back into the game again. They are winning that ball again there. They're on top of the moment.
Jason Gibbons, Killian O'Connor couldn't get on in the end of Jason Gibbons' pass, and Claremorris are trying to finish strongly here in this last few minutes of the semi-final. They go long again to the edge of the square towards Diskin, can't win it, but the ball breaks to Pilbro try to recycle it to James Shaughnessy, gets there, swings his left boot at it, and that's another fine score from James Shaughnessy. It's 2-8 plays 3-16, and you kind of wonder, has they started either half like this, the story could have been a lot different.
You're just looking at the second half score there. It was 3-10 to 2 at half time, so Claremorris 2-6 in the second half to Ballintubber 6 points, and that was the target that probably Johnny would have said at half time for them in the dressing room, going out in the second half, win the second half and put a bit of pride back into the Claremorris jersey, and I think they've done that. But it's Ballintubber, obviously they took off a number of the players, and one of their key players, like Dylan and Jeremy O'Connor as well, resting them for the county final. But as you mentioned earlier on, the first 2 goals really just sucked the life out of the Claremorris challenge. At that stage they were, as you said, they're nearly phased by it, but now since they got into the game they've been more confident.
Another turnover for Claremorris, and they're finishing they have played better football this half, and they switch it out to Shaughnessy again, and he's trying to cut inside Loftus, swings his left boot at this one again, but this time it just goes to the left and wide, and they've outplayed Ballintubber in the second half, Jackie, scoring wise, and as we said, the changes have made a difference, but Tom Prendergast won't be happy with what he's seeing from the lads that have come in.
Well, this is our problem. We know that once we go past the first 15, we're a bit weak after that, and you'd like to see some of them putting their hand up, but it's not happening at the moment here. We're just gone. Complacency is a big word, but at the moment a lot of it has set in, and the sooner this game is over and we get our heads right for the next game, the better.
Brendan Walsh has an exasperated breath from most of the crowd that's here in Elverys MacHale Park for this game, and Austin O'Malley, Ballintubber are taking a few risky chances, and they're turned over the ball again, and they're cutting inside, and David Gannon feeds it into Shaughnessy, and he's trying to come onto his left foot so he can get a goal, but he gives it to McCormick, the centre back. Great save, blocked on the line, and Ballintubber in the last few minutes have just been the masters are just creating problems for themselves by turning over the ball in their own half back line.
Yeah, there's just a lack of concentration there. They don't seem to be moving the ball from back to front as economical as they were, and they've, I suppose Claremorris have been, spirited by the last couple of turnovers that they've won, and they've gone at them there again. They were very unlucky not to get another one there, which have really put a different complexion on the scoreboard.
There's a pause in play there. We can show you the second Claremorris goal, and it was well worked. They exchanged passes and they drove through, left-footed shot, drove it into the net. Great finish, and as we said, gives the little bit of confidence, gives the Claremorris team a little bit of hope. As we said, they're probably never going to win the game in the position they were at half time, but to come out here and outscore Ballintubber in the second half has done that out to credit, and I'm sure they'll take the positives from that, as Stephen Gill has a cut high and it's into the square. Walsh comes out to claim it, couldn't quite get there in his combination of defenders that gets it away with Loftus laying it off to Miles Kelly.
it's, I suppose the one thing now the likes of Garrymore and Castlebar would be looking at this, they think that Ballintubber full back line is there to be exposed, and the likes of Declan Riley now and Kevin Welch would be looking at that for the Ballintubber or in a possible final. So this the one area of the field that the Claremorris have, I know.
Sorry to cut you there. Nicky Pilbrow is in on the right hand side and he's trying to get it across the large square. Jason Gibbons gets a right foot to it. MacHale trying to get the game going again for Claremorris, and he hits that one just off balance on his left foot. It comes off the post and it just goes wide, and it's going to be a free, so the advantage was played. But as you say, and Austin, it gives Garrymore or Castlebar sense that full back line of Loftus and Hallinan went off, and Murphy, they're not as secure, as confident as they are in the rest of the position.
No, they're not. No, and Claremorris have got a bit of dividend there when they've gone actually at them, gone at the weak shoulder and drove past them, and they've asked questions of them, and they've looked vulnerable definitely there, and they've poached a few scores, and obviously the 2 goals of them there. So definitely, if I was a Castlebar manager or a Garrymore manager and I was watching this, you'd certainly be making a couple of notes on that in terms of that you'd be able to attack those weaknesses within or the frailties within that full back line.
Coming out 33 minutes played, and Vincent Neary brings it to an end. Claremorris 2-9, Ballintubber 3-16. Some respectability brought to the scoreline by Claremorris, who bow out of the championship, as Ballintubber, who are the only unbeaten team in this year's championship, go on to another county final. And we hand over to Liam Horan and Austin O'Malley.
Thanks very much, Tom, and to Jackie Heenan and John Brennan as well. Austin O'Malley, I suppose not a lot to be said about that really, except that Claremorris, as John has been making the point, did have a go at it in the second half. Now it's mitigated by the fact that Ballintubber had eased the foot off the gas and had taken some key players off as well, but credit to Claremorris, they didn't just lie down and die.
I know, you have to give them great credit there in the end. They kept pushing forward, they kept testing the resolve of Ballintubber, and obviously Ballintubber, they drew out, or they took off some of their big guns there, and it kind of altered the complexion of the game, but still, they were going through the phases there. They switched off a little bit at the back there, Ballintubber, at the end, I suppose, a little bit of lack of concentration, and Claremorris poached 2 goals and a number of scores there for them. But you have to give credit to Claremorris. That's a tough exercise there today. They're a very, very young side. They're learning in real time out there, and I suppose they'll have to just go away this evening, dust themselves down, come back and learn from that, and that's all they can do. On the other hand, Ballintubber are in a nice position now going into a county final. I suppose they could rest a number of players there, so they should be fresh. So all things would point that they're in a good position going in now.
We saw a lot of what was good about Ballintubber, Jackie. Did anything worry you?
I suppose the last 50 minutes, maybe it was over, I suppose, as a counter at half time, so complacency set in a big way there. Just maybe our backup, we do know that our backup is not quite where it should be. Once we go past the first 15, we're weak enough. Some of them didn't really put their hand up when they came on. The players got disjointed. From a Ballintubber point of view, the last 50 minutes maybe was the best thing that happened to us. Any guys that had egos getting a little bit big will be brought down to even Stephen O'Malley for the second half. Didn't get a hardly kick at the ball, like it's the whole ego thing can run away with you, so that'll bring us back down to ground pretty fast, Liam.
Okay, John, you had made the point at half time that Claremorris needed to do something in the second half. What did you feel?
Yeah, I thought they put in a performance that they can be proud of for the second half, and I'm sure Johnny Mulkeen would have said that to them at half time, set out a stall and set out, I suppose, a marker to get in the second half, and I think they scored 2-7 compared to Ballintubber 6 points, so that in itself was an achievement. It was important for them to not maybe die down in the second half and maybe let Ballintubber run away with it, and obviously they got the 2 goals, which was important for them, but they gave a bit of respectability to it. I know Ballintubber would have eased down on the gas at that stage, but they definitely put in a big shift in the second half, and it was important for them to do that.
Yeah, they certainly gave it what they could. We have a look at Claremorris' second goal here. It was Matthew MacHale scorer. Going to be this coming through now, John.
Yeah, I know Ballintubber would have withdrawn a lot of players off the field and brought on a number of, I suppose, lesser known players, but Claremorris manufactured 2 well worked goals. You see Matthew Mackin just breaking through, he puts it across to Colin Gill, and then Colin Gill tries to manufacture a goal. I can't quite see who got on the end of that ball. But
I think it's Matthew Mackin.
I think it was Matthew Mackin, but I'm not 100% certain.
Take a look at it again.
Matthew Mackin, he was coming out there, so I'm guessing it was Matthew Mackin.
Okay, well, Ballintubber going through their warm down there. They are, of course, into the county senior football final, where they'll play the winners of Castlebar Mitchels and Garrymore next weekend. That's on Wednesday at Elverys MacHale Park. We'll take a look at that Claremorris goal again.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see now who got on the end of that move. James Shaughnessy. He's breaking through the tackle. Goes through to Matthew Mackin. Matthew Mackin puts it across to Colin Gill. Colin Gill puts it across. Yes, it was Matthew Mackin left-footed. Yeah.
Matthew Mackin with a good finish, and that gave something for the Claremorris fans to cheer about. And they had something to take home from their day on a day they were well beaten by 3-16 to 2 goals and 9, and that, as we said, sets up one final placing in the Mayo Senior Championship final next weekend, and the second one will be up for grabs on Wednesday night. Jackie, we'll get you to throw an eye at Mitchels Garrymore. What do you think?
Well, no more than the Brafey game last week, and the Claremorris were just saying the longer the Mitchells left Garrymore hanging in there, we knew being Gary of old, they're not going to give up, and Mitchells left them hanging out there. Got the impression, looking at the Mitchells, that this game could be played on their terms whenever it suited them. But as turned out, that just didn't quite happen. Gary have some fine players, but what they have is great heart. They will not give up. I still feel the next day that the Mitchells will they have that little bit more composure about them in tight situations. Today maybe didn't finish it off when they should have. I still feel there's another gear or two in them. I think they were looking further down the line than, I'm afraid, even Ballintubber. They were looking more at a Connacht run than the local scene. So sometimes you can take your foot off the pedal and you can get caught, get your eye off the ball, as they say, and it can backfire on you. So
the sun visor is down again this evening for Mitchell.
Again, I would expect the Mitchells maybe again the next night, that the games bring you on. Not training, games will bring you on. So I'd say the Mitchells. It's been how Barry Morden went off there. I don't know whether they took him off at the crucial stage, so whether he was hurt or something that we don't know about. He would be a big loss to them around the middle of the field, because they haven't got that many big ball winners out there.
Yes, the Mitchells, Austin, will be favourites again. Generally things don't change a huge amount, or sometimes things don't change a huge amount in the public's expectation. They think, okay, Mitchells will set it up again and go again the next night. What do you think?
I'm not too sure. Looking at Castlebar, they looked lethargic and leggy for long stages of that, and it was more or less there was. And Jackie said they were trying to play it on their own terms, but I think there might be a reason for that. That they just don't seem to have that pomp or that kind of neatness about them that they had in previous years. Now I don't think you can turn that on overnight. Whereas Garrymore, even though they struggled at appearance, they looked a lot more sprightly. They looked a little bit leaner and a little bit quicker across the ground. But I suppose Castlebar have all that experience and all that know-how built up, but I'm not too sure if Garrymore are going to come and lie down here the next night and be rolled over. I'd nearly slightly tip them to get across the line,
Okay, and you were saying give them a good chance all along, and that's the Ballintubber players making their way off the field. The Claremorris players, whose interest in this championship is now over, have left already. The Ballintubber supporters applauding their men as they leave. They know only too well the effort they have put in over many years, but particularly in the last week. They had to dig deep in the last week, Jackie, to get through that slalom of games.
Well, with 3 games in 8 days, you give no time for the body. Like, there can be no training. It's all about going to the pool. It's all about resting. As Austin said earlier on there this evening, all about getting your sleep. Sleep is the most important. Maybe the odd student maybe can sneak away for a couple of hours, but the guy who is holding down a job, and we have a lot of those guys. We have students also, I'm afraid, but yeah, rest is the biggest thing that you can get, and not to get bogged down too much about it. Some guys get worked up, and the more you worry about a thing, the less you're going to turn up on the day. I see Stephen O'Malley walking up the steps, whether he's coming to us or whether he's coming up to see his mother to get a hug. I'm not quite sure, but
I think he's coming to us, Jackie.
He's coming to us. All right, Stephen.
Let him in here. So Stephen O'Malley scored what in the end? 2. John is going to fish out his notes.
From Gurtball.
Okay, Stephen. Well, you put that game beyond Claremorris reach in the first half with your scoring exploits. You had it pretty much your own way in the first half. You got off to a great start.
Yeah, we're pushing hard. We knew coming into this game we're going well in training, and even the replay against Hollymount made us even fitter team than we are. So we're really pushing this year, really fucking out to get it.
Claremorris, we felt the other night that the Hollymount Garrymore game sort of liberated you in some ways. It got you back into your best form.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, because in the first game we weren't going as hard as we know we should be. So the second game then we got going all together. Even though I wasn't involved now, but when I get my chance, I have to put it away, that's it.
They'll find it hard to leave you off now, Stephen.
I don't know, it's up to them now, but hopefully they won't.
Yeah, tell us about your goals anyway. You took them away very well. We're looking at them at the replay at half. In fact, we might be able to get them there to show Stephen. Have we got Stephen's... can we see Stephen's goals? Walking up this way here, actually, yeah. Goals put games into perspective, really, don't they? They decide games, and we'll just bring it up here in a second, Stephen. Hopefully you can see it. Just give us a moment. And Yeah, you took them away neatly, and Austin O'Malley, who's a renowned goal scorer himself, very confident about them, a bit of difficult finding them. But forwards like you, when you get a chance, you got to take them, isn't that it?
Yes, that's it. That's it. Killian did all the hard work, though. I suppose he laid it off to me. All I had to do was put it in the net, but.
Okay, I don't think it's going to happen, Stephen, but they're there for posterity anyway, and we've played the replay a few times and remarked on the quality of them. You've a week now. It must seem like a long time to the next game.
Yeah, a week now must get the preparation right. Training probably Thursday evening, so we're going to have a right go at this year. People said Ballintubber are dead, but we're not dead yet. We're not.
Where are you based yourself then?
I'm in Kilwalla. It's just beside Ballintubber.
Are you living locally, or are you away during the week? Have you to come back for training?
I'm in college in Sligo. Yeah, I have to come down for training on Thursday, so not too bad.
So a bit of mileage there as well. Stephen, thank you very much for joining us. Well done today.
Thanks, William. Thank you.
Okay, that's Stephen O'Malley, scorer of 2-2 from Kilwalla. That side of the Ballintubber fiefdom, as we'll call it, Jackie. Yes. And Danny Garrity, the team captain as well. And thanks to Desi Campbell and Liam Henley for fishing out the various players. Danny, captain of Ballintubber, first of all. Danny, thank you for joining us, first of all. Ye had, I suppose our old friend and marker was laid down there again today.
I suppose so, but last 15-20 minutes there we kind of held off a bit, kind of sat back. We really have a bit more to improve on, but yeah, it was a good performance. Good to get through. Semi-finals are for winning only, really. Good to get through to a final next week.
How would you characterise the week overall? It was a hectic week.
I found it good. You're no training, you're just finishing the game. What can I do to recover? Finishing on, split up the week, the match then Wednesday. The week of work flew, so it was grand, and then recovery session after Wednesday, and then pushing it on to today, so it was good, but I'll be happy with a break.
Whereas Mitchells and Garrymore are facing into that schedule this week, one of them?
Yeah, one of them, but it could improve them a lot. We the extra game held to us today. We're a bit more sharper, and it's good to get game time when the county lads are back. You don't really get to play with them much during the year, but it was good to get another game with them during the week, so hopefully we can push on.
You come from a club who won their first senior title in your playing lifetime. Claremorris trying to your intermediate teams up till 10 or 12 years ago in Ballintubber. Claremorris trying to reach the level ye have reached. Would you have any word of consolation or commendation to them?
Well, as you've probably seen there yourself, they're a young team, but they're fairly talented. I think a few next year probably to get a good winter into them, get a good pre-season, and see where they go. Keep the young lads keep going. That'll be the main thing I'd say to them.
Physical power is so important now, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and pace. They have a lot of pace, and they're good young fellas there as well. So I'd say just try and stick together and keep the young lads going. There's a good group there, so they'll be thereabouts again next year and probably the year after as well.
Okay, Danny, we may see you a little bit further down those steps next week. Take a look on your way down. Ballintubber captain, cheers, Danny Garrity, from a famous Ballintubber name, of course, as well. Captain of Ballintubber this year, and. When you say physical power to Danny Garrity, you realise how to your depth you are.
Well, as you say, famous name. If you go back, I saw Eddie Gibbons here a while ago, who captained Mayo in 1983. When Eddie was sent off that particular day, at that time the captain couldn't come up to collect the trophy. So who comes up but Jerry Garrity as vice captain? So any photographs you see of 83, the two of them Jerry called up Eddie immediately. So the two of them are always in the photograph. So that the pedigree is good.
The pedigree is good. I remember it well in Irvinstown. Who was the referee?
Oh, geez, I can't remember.
I think it was Pádraig Gorman of Sligo. Jerry Garrity, actually.
Young lad.
You were under 21, I think, in 83, Jackie. Jerry Garrity and some of the Garrity family who live overseas have been on Mayo GAA TV, in fact, of late, watching the games.
Pádraig was on from Hawaii last week, yes. Excellent. And Jerry's been watching it also in Chicago.
Yeah, there was a big Mayo night in Chicago last night. I was talking to Kevin Brady from Kilwalla yesterday evening. There was a big Mayo night there in Kilwalla last night. Or not in Kilwalla. There's a big Mayo night in Kilwalla every night in McEvely's in Chicago. And I'm sure they enjoyed themselves there. I think that's the end of the special guests. Liam Henley, who has Kilwalla blood in him, and Desi Campbell. I see Liam's mother, Riley McEvely from Kilwalla there as well, another loyal Mayo and Ballintubber supporter. I think that's all the guests we have lined up, so I think that brings us to an end of our broadcasting here from Elverys MacHale Park on a day of two contrasting games. The first game, the senior championship semi-final between Garrymore and Castlebar, ended up in a draw. Garrymore pushing it right to the end, great point by Jimmy Killeen landing the equaliser to make that into a replay, which is 99% certain to go ahead on Wednesday night here at Elverys MacHale Park. The second game in marked contrast, as I said, where Claremorris just couldn't get to it with Ballintubber. Ballintubber showing all their experience, their pedigree, the fact they're bringing some new players in who are coming into a very good team, and they sailed home past Claremorris on a scoreline of 3-16 to 2-9. But Claremorris did some good work in the second half, and maybe they can build on that as well. That's it from Elverys MacHale Park. We'll be back probably on Wednesday night and back next weekend as well. Intermediate and senior final weekend next weekend here in Mayo. It'll all be here on MayoGAA.tv.com, and we do hope you can join us then. I want to thank our various team members here today: Tony Kennedy, Ariadne Gomez-Kelly, Liam Henley. We have Brendan Dowd, Conor Dowd, Desi Campbell, Liam Henley. How will I keep them all paid? Austin O'Malley, Jackie Heenahan, John Brennan. We had earlier on as well Danny McHugh and Kevin Filan, Garrymore and Castlebar Mitchels respectively, our match commentator Tom Carney, and everybody else who helped out today. I funny feel, yes, I missed Paula Ballester-Murat, who was our camerawoman today, and we thank her as well for her efforts throughout today. Everybody covered, lads? Doing good, Liam. Jackie, the PAYE alone is going to kill me on this.
Man of your pedigree, no problem to you, Liam.
Okay, so that's it. They get all the credit, of course, for all the work that goes on today. Do join us again next weekend on MayoGAA.tv.com.